Chapter 81 I think he's a monster. Chapter 81. I think he's a monster. After being aggressively cleaned up by Zhang Qin, a vacant space the size of a basketball court appeared in the plantation. At this moment, Zhang Qin and Han Fei stood opposite one another. Zhang Qin began the interrogation. Have you learned these combat skills? Han Fei scratched his head. Yes, but I don't think they are suitable for me. Zhang Qin. Han Fei explained. Well, I think these skills are a bit too powerful. I'm afraid that not only would my enemy not withstand them, but neither would I. What? Zhang Qin wanted to roll her eyes. Are you talking about those basic combat skills? Is it the first time you were exposed to combat skills? Zhang Qinqing shouted. Come on, use all your combat skills on me. Show me what you're capable of. That'll be too cruel to you. Sister Qin, you're such a beautiful and delicate girl and I don't want to hurt you. Otherwise, Grandpa will kill me. Hurt me. Give it a try. With that, Zhang Qin suddenly stepped on the ground, jumped up, and kicked him. Wait a minute. Bam! Han Fei was kicked 7 or 8 meters away and fell to the ground. If he hadn't blocked the attack with his rod, he would have been lying on all fours on the ground. Sister Qin, I have something to say. Please stop. Wait till we finish. Just show me your combat skills. Without giving Han Fei a chance to speak, Zhang Qin struck again, empty-handed. The kick she made just now had proved how terrifying her strength was. Even though she reserved some of her strength, Han Fei could hardly resist her. Ouch! Han Fei took a deep breath. So this is the way a soul warrior acts. Get into a fight with you at any time. Will she kill me if I say I don't want to learn these combat skills? Come, my rod. Han Fei roared in a low voice, and when he looked up again, Zhang Qin was shocked to see that his eyes were full of frantic fighting intentions. Bam! Han Fei stepped on the ground, leaving a small pit in place and started his attack. Unlike the hacking, sweeping, and stabbing movements of Sweeping Stick, the characteristic of Crazy Devil's rod was being fast and violent. Zhang Qin was a little bit stunned. Huh, is this gusty rod? Clang! Having no time to think about it, Zhang Qin concentrated on the fight. The shadows of her fist and Han Fei's rod almost overlapped and colliding sounds were heard repeatedly. Zhang Qin was astonished. Is gusty rod so powerful? And when she looked at Han Fei, she found that an eerie smile was hovering over this guy's lips and his eyes were full of madness. Cut! Han Fei hit Zhang Qin with his rod but his attack was easily blocked by her. Then he picked, stabbed, chopped, poked, and backhanded. His movements were varied and his attacking angles were strange. Zhang Qin turned green. Hey, you're hitting my eyes, chest and the part between my legs. You damn boy, let me teach you a good lesson. Break. Zhang Qin's fist suddenly flashed and she threw a punch at the tip of his rod. Bam! Han Fei was knocked backward 3 to 4 meters. Then he poked his rod into the ground to stabilize his body that was sent flying backward, leaving a long mark on the ground. Zhang Qin squinted at Han Fei. She had been forced to use her fishing master level strength because she found that if she still used the strength of level 9 fisher, she might be immediately defeated by him. Ho ho, it seems that I can't beat you with the Crazy Devil's rod. Then what about fury? Roar. Han Fei's body suddenly inflated and blue veins stood out on his neck, forehead, and hands. Kill. In the blink of an eye, Han Fei's speed doubled. He waved his rod so quickly that only the shadow of the rod could be seen, and the power of each blow was overwhelming. Zhang Qin was forced to adjust her strength to the peak of a junior fishing master, only to find that she still couldn't resist his attacks. Han Fei's blows were unexpectedly powerful and he moved extremely fast. No, I'm going to lose within 1 minute. Upgrade to intermediate fishing master. The two sides were so well matched that neither could gain the upper hand. Dirt flew across the field, the shadows of the rod flashed, and spiritual energy spread, creating ripples in the air. Outside the field, old Zhang looked at this scene holding a skewer of shrimp and pondered. Not noticing the shrimp had been eaten up, he bit the skewer in his hand again. Han Fei, stop. Zhang Qin was surprised. This was definitely not blood boiling. God knew what this was. How could blood boiling improve a person from a level 9 fisher to an intermediate level fishing master? Han Fei chuckled and didn't stop at all. Seeing his rod flash with spiritual energy, Zhang Qin let out a curse in anger. This brat was going to launch a spiritual energy explosion attack at her. Bam, bam, bam. At extremely short intervals, he launched 3 spiritual energy explosion attacks in a row. Han Fei, that's enough. Zhang Qin punched so fast that only the shadow of her fist could be seen. She launched a spiritual energy explosion attack too, sending Han Fei flying through the air. Zhang Qin just wanted to stop when Han Fei's rod was suddenly swung at her forehead. Clang! While the purple bamboo rod was shaken away, swishing sounds were heard. Zhang Qin immediately upgraded to an advanced fishing master. Her hands moved fast, shaking off the palm-sized flying daggers that were darted at her. Han Fei. But her words were ignored. Han Fei leaned forward and tried to stab her with 2 arm-length daggers. Zhang Qin dodged quickly, but the daggers followed her like her shadow and turned like butterflies in Han Fei's hands. Although Zhang Qin had improved her strength to that of an advanced fishing master, she was still continuously cut on the forearm by Han Fei. Not only that, Han Fei still wanted to stab her chest. Zhang Qin was finally annoyed. She instantly filled her body with spiritual energy. With a bang, Han Fei was shaken backward 7 or 8 meters. Han Fei fell to the ground with a backward somersault. He suddenly smiled coldly at Zhang Qin and the dagger in his hand shot out as fast as lightning. The dagger was covered with flashing spiritual energy and left a long shadow as it cut through the air. Zhang Qin's face changed greatly. She immediately mobilized all the spiritual energy in her body and shouted, "Destroy!" Bam! The violent explosion directly overturned the land within 3 meters of Zhang Qin's foot, and the latter looked down at her fist, only to see there was a cut between her middle finger and ring finger and blood oozed out of it. Zhang Qin was shocked. A fissure made her bleed. How could this be possible? No one would believe it, not even herself. She was a veritable dangling fishing master, only 1 step away from being a hidden fishing master. She could even fight with Fang Zi, but now a fissure made a cut in her hand. Han Fei seemed to be going to launch another attack at her, but as soon as he stepped his feet hard on the ground, he collapsed to the ground and fainted. Seeing this, Zhang Qin didn't know what to do. He had fainted, so she couldn't hit him, but if she didn't hit him, she couldn't vent the anger for almost being killed by him just now. I told you not to make him a soul warrior. Look, what a little monster you've made. Gee, he was such a good boy when he was studying spirit concentration art. All he did was pick flowers, farm, and occasionally cook, but now he is not adorable at all. Old Zhang walked forward leisurely, touched Han Fei's neck, and nodded slightly. He did faint. Jian Qin was confused. Why was he attacking me like crazy? Old Zhang wondered, what kind of combat skills did you choose for him? How did they turn him into this? Combat skills. Well, I selected some combat skills for him from the village library. You know, there were only some lame basic combat skills there. Oh, that's strange. Then where did he get these crazy combat skills? Zhang Qin had an idea. But I noticed that the combat skills he just used are the sublimated versions of those I chose for him and much stronger than the original ones. This kid must have a secret. I knew it. He memorized the Encyclopedia of Spiritual Plants in 1 day. How could that be possible? Zhang Qin didn't have an answer. I thought he was crazy. Don't you think he was like a monster just now? Well, geniuses are always envied. In bed. Han Fei felt sore all over his body as if he had wandered in the sea for 5 days and 5 nights. He felt that his bones had almost fallen apart. Ouch! Grandpa, Sister Qin. Soon, the 2 of them came in from outside. Old Zhang was the first to arrive. Does it hurt? You deserved it. The combat skills you learned are beyond the limits of your physical endurance. You should be glad that you aren't disabled. If your body hadn't been strong enough, you would have ended up in bed for the rest of your life. Han Fei. Han Fei looked over at Zhang Qin. Sister Qin, it was you who asked me to fight with you. I said wait a minute, but you didn't listen to me. Zhang Qin looked serious. Where did you learn these combat skills? Han Fei was puzzled. You chose them for me. Bullshit, the combat skills you used are not what I chose for you. How can you explain it? Chapter 82 Provocation. Chapter 82, Provocation. Han Fei certainly wouldn't tell her the truth as he began to blab at random. Well, here is the thing. I tried the gusty rod, but it was not very easy to use. Just being fast isn't enough. Li Gang is also fast, but I will defeat him with a single blow. So I innovated a bit, grabbed some spiritual energy from my body, and exploded it, and then it did become easier to use. It became more powerful while maintaining its speed. Zhang Qin and the old man were dumbfounded by his words. Who do you think you are? Innovated a bit, but to be honest, the combat skills did become much more powerful. Zhang Qin asked, what about blood boiling? Han Fei explained, that stuff is useless. I tried using it, but I felt I was almost roasted. How could I still fight with others in such a state? So I changed it too. I split spiritual energy into bits, covered my internal organs with them, and made them jump with my insides. Well, guess what? I did grow stronger as they jumped with my insides, although I felt a little bit uncomfortable. Old Zhang wiped the sweat off his face with his sleeve. Are you kidding me? Wrap internal organs with spiritual energy. I hadn't even thought of that, but you just went ahead and did it. Old Zhang was curious about the next move. I can guess how you'll explain your last move. You poured all your spiritual energy into the machete and made the spiritual energy explode as soon as the machete touched your enemy, right? How did you come up with that? Han Fei had no problem explaining this one too. I just wanted to increase my combat power. Isn't stronger combat power better in combat? Old Zhang wasn't sold on this one. Bullshit, although this trick is not bad, what if you failed to kill your enemy? Or if you had more than one enemy? How many enemies can you kill with one slash? Han Fei wanted to scratch his head, but his arm hurt a little, so he gave up on the idea. But he thought to himself, although my body can only withstand 400 points of spiritual energy, there is no upper limit. When the spiritual energy in my body is used up, I can replenish it easily. What am I afraid of? You, take a good rest. Except for Gusty Rod, you can't rashly use the other combat skills, Zhang Qin instructed. But what should I do next? I mean the Soul Warrior thing. Zhang Qin said, wait a few days. 1 day later, Han Fei recovered. He wanted to go to sea, but he was banned from going to sea for 3 months and his boat was also confiscated, so he had to give up this plan. The barbecue stall alone could not meet his demands. After more than a month, he only got 80,000 points of spiritual energy from the barbecue stall. After refining knives, deducing combat skills, and training, now he only had 68,000 points or so left. Were they many? There seemed to be many, but actually not many at all. There was the peak level above level 9. Only when he broke through to the peak level could he continue to break through to be a fishing master. Now he was ready to break through to the peak level and his spiritual energy had reached the limit of 419. But what about the next breakthrough? These points of spiritual energy were certainly not enough for him to break through to be a fishing master. Grandpa, I'll take leave for a few days. Old Zhang was curious as he asked, where are you going? Well, I have serious business to tend to. Before old Zhang responded, Han Fei had left and gone to his secret small cave. 3 days later, Han Fei strolled casually to the barbecue stall to absorb spiritual energy, but when he arrived at the barbecue stall, he found that no one was standing in line. Hey gang, where are the customers? When Li Gang saw Han Fei coming, he burst into tears and said, young master, we are gonna go broke. Now no one dares to buy our barbecue. Li Qing joined the barbecue stall a month ago. He said gloomily, young master, it's the tigers. They threatened people, whoever dared to buy our barbecue, they would kill them. What? Han Fei burst with anger in an instant. Cutting off my barbecue stall business was equivalent to cutting off my source of spiritual energy. Shit, is Li Ju formally declaring war against me? Han Fei left without any hesitation carrying his rod. Li Gang hurriedly stopped him. Young master, what are you going to do? What else can I do? I'm going to FCK up Li Ju, that old bastard. Li Gang, Li Qing, young master, please don't do that. I heard that Li Ju has recovered. Li Gang begged. Li Qing added, it may be true. After all, the tigers are very rich. It's said that Li Ju has bought a lot of supplemental medicines this month and even sent his men to the sea to find spiritual fruits. He seems to have got something. Han Fei didn't care. Humph. So what? Has he broken through to be a great fishing master? How dare he provoke me like this? Young master, although Li Ju is not yet a great fishing master, his strength is already at the peak of a fishing master. I'm afraid his strength is already quite close to that of a great fishing master, Li Qing warned. Han Fei clenched his fist. He wants to cut off the source of my spiritual energy. How can I bear this? Han Fei took a deep breath and calmed down. How did the tigers threaten us? Li Gang sighed. They just stood right in front of our booth and stopped people from buying our barbecue. They even had their men guard the stall. Look, the two guys over there are their men. Once a customer comes, they will threaten him. Han Fei turned his head and found there were two people staring at him indeed. Ha ha. Han Fei went straight to them and pointed purple bamboo rod at the two. Are you from the tigers? One of them ignored Han Fei and snorted. The other said, yes. Do you dare to hit me? Bam. The next second, one of them was kicked away, and seeing this scene, the other was about to run away, only to be hit on the head and he fell to the ground. Both of them vomited blood. You, how dare you be engaged in a fight on the floating island? Law enforcement team, law enforcement team. Han Fei mocked them. Now you remember the law enforcement team. Weren't you on your high horse a moment ago? Han Fei wasn't afraid at all. Anyway, I'm now banned from going to sea. It was not a big deal for me to hit one or two hooligans. Bam! Han Fei jumped over and beat the two of them up. Stepping on the head of one, he said, "You're from the tigers, aren't you? Now I've kept your faces in mind. Next time I meet you at sea, I'll kill you. Who dares to start a fight at the fair?" A group of law enforcement team members came from a distance, led by a fishing master, who shouted to Han Fei coldly. Han Fei kicked the person under his feet away and smiled at the fishing master. It's me, but these two men threatened my customers. Now no one dares to buy anything from my stall, so I gave them a little punishment. Did I break the law, sir? The fishing master looked at Han Fei and asked, "Are you Han Fei?" Yes. The fishing master shook his head slightly. The floating island will only maintain the order of the floating island. Forgive me for not being able to control their behaviors in fisheries, but fights are forbidden on the floating island. We won't punish you this time, but don't do it again. Han Fei immediately smiled. Sir, is that to say, the tigers can threaten anyone here and kill those who don't obey them at fisheries and you won't do anything about it? The fishing master remained silent, which meant that what he said was right. Han Fei turned around and asked Li Qing, "Li Qing, what businesses are the tigers running on the floating island?" Li Qing answered, "They are running dozens of casinos, fish stalls, and bait shops." "Take me to their shops one by one." "Well, yes, young master." The fishing master frowned and shouted in a low voice, "Han Fei, don't go too far." Han Fei turned around and grinned at him. "Sir, I promise I won't hurt anyone unless someone hurts me first." With that, his face went cold and he left. Behind the fishing master, a member of the team said, "Master Wu, isn't this Han Fei too arrogant?" Wu Chen narrowed his eyes. Han Fei seems to be confident. He is not a pushover. These two people are both at the peak of level 9 but almost had no power to fight back. Did he get some sort of special opportunity? Wu Chen believed that Han Fei got this special opportunity because of Tang Jie. Otherwise, how could Han Fei have upgraded to level 9 so fast? Wu Chen waved his hand. "Follow him. Just make sure that no fight breaks out. The tigers are a bunch of villains and don't need our protection at all. Let's just remain neutral." A casino of the tigers. Li Qing led Han Fei to one of the casinos owned by the tigers. "Young master, here it is." Someone immediately recognized Li Qing and shouted, "Li Qing, you traitor, how do you have the nerve to come here?" Li Qing snorted coldly without speaking. Han Fei brushed them off. "Go away, I'm going to bet some money today." The two refused to make way for him. Han Fei's face went cold. "What, am I not your guest? If you don't let me in, shut down this casino." The two men frowned, and in the end, they let him in. What they thought was that if Han Fei wanted to gamble here, why not let him? Anyway, if he lost money here, he asked for it. But less than a minute after Han Fei walked in, they heard a loud noise from inside. It seemed that something was smashed. Wu Chen's face changed. Let's go inside. The law enforcement team walked in, only to see that Han Fei had smashed all the gambling tables with the purple bamboo rod. He was surrounded by 5 or 6 members of the Tigers who were wary as if facing a formidable enemy. Han Fei casually cast a glance at Wu Chen. Master Wu, I didn't hit anyone, I just smashed some things. I'll pay them back. You know, I'm rich. Gang, where is the money? Chapter 83 Declaring War. Chapter 83. Declaring War. Li Gang quickly took out a bag of pearls from his arms, all of which were mid-quality pearls. Han Fei took one from inside and threw it on the ground. These tables are mine. Wu Chen was speechless. Didn't you say you were rich? How could you only leave a mid-quality pearl? Bam! Purple bamboo rod flashed in Han Fei's hands, and Han Fei suddenly smashed the furnishings in the casino with a spiritual energy explosion attack. Someone shouted angrily, Han Fei, you are looking for death. Haha, Li Ju, you old bastard, come out. If fights weren't forbidden on the floating island, your blood would have been dry by now. Someone sneered, if it weren't for that, do you think you could have lived to this day? Han Fei smiled, just call Li Ju out. I've killed his son and sooner or later I'll kill him too. Wu Chen frowned. Han Fei, calm down. Even if you smash the casino, so what? These things will be replaced soon. Han Fei said as a matter of factly, then I'll smash them again. How dare they touch my barbecue stall? I just return like for like. Wu Chen didn't know what to say. In his opinion, Han Fei was not a domineering person. Why did he suddenly become like this, even though his protector, Tang Jie, had been gone? He had smashed 6 stores in a row before their very eyes, but this casino was different. It was guarded by a fishing master. Li Qing whispered to Han Fei. This is Li Dao from the Tigers. His strength is at the peak of a junior fishing master. He is quite strong. Okay, keep smashing the casino. Li Qing. Everyone else. Li Dao roared, Han Fei, don't push me. If you leave right away, I will let you off. Otherwise, I'll teach you a good lesson. Han Fei raised the purple bamboo rod in his hand. I, Han Fei, challenge you today. Do you dare to accept my challenge? Buzz. Li Qing and Li Gang only felt a buzz in their heads. Wu Chen's eyes widened. You, a level 9 fisher, challenge a fishing master. Do you want to die? Ha ha ha. Li Dao laughed as if hearing the funniest joke in the world. Although there were rumors that Han Fei killed Li Lang, it was not yet known how Li Lang died. After all, it was at sea. Anything could happen at sea at night. But now, Han Fei was challenging him on the floating island. Only God knows who gave him this courage. Li Dao smiled. I was trying to work out a way to catch and kill you, but you've simply sent yourself to me. If I don't accept your challenge, people will laugh at me. Let's fight then. Wu Chen felt nervous. Han Fei, you'd better give it a second thought. This is not a joke. If you lose, no one can help you. I lose. In my life, I have never lost. Everyone was speechless. Why are you still bragging at this time? You have never lost because people were afraid that they would beat you to death. Some people started to hoot, especially the members of the Tigers. Many people wanted Li Dao to torture Han Fei hard. There was an open space respectively in the north, south, east, and west of the floating island. With some sparse trees in these open spaces, they were originally used as training grounds for fishing skills. But at the moment, a large group of people came to the east training ground. The shocking news that a fisher challenged a fishing master quickly spread, and there were more and more people coming to watch. Soon, the training ground became tightly packed with people. Wu Chen was the witness of this challenge. He looked at Han Fei with a complex look. Li Dao asked, can we start? I'm ready to crush your head anytime. Wu Chen gave the official order, start. Han Fei immediately launched a spiritual energy explosion attack with his purple bamboo rod. Li Dao smiled coldly. This brat wants to play spiritual energy explosion attacks with me. Do you really think this lame combat skill can hurt me? Bam! In an instant, Li Dao's hands went numb. His face changed greatly. The blow was really powerful. In terms of power, this guy's strength was already comparable to that of a fishing master. However, Li Dao sneered, physical strength is not important in combat. Thousand Shadow Rod, kill. Han Fei had seen this Thousand Shadow Rod. He had selected this combat skill from the village library, but Zhang Qin threw it away. Han Fei almost laughed. What makes you believe you can move faster than me? Han Fei activated the Crazy Devil's Rod. With a chuckle, he jumped over like a gust of wind. Clang, clang, clang. Han Fei and Li Dao were fighting fiercely with an extremely fast speed. All the audience could see were shadows of rods, which dazzled their eyes. Li Dao's face changed drastically. He can keep up with his speed. And why does he have such great power in every blow? Bam! Li Dao couldn't keep up with Han Fei's speed anymore. Suddenly, his chest was poked and his face was hit by the purple bamboo rod. He was sent flying through the air, half of his face was dented, and his cheekbones were cracked. Damn! Fuse! Everyone was astounded. Come on, you're a fishing master. Does a fishing master need to fuse with his spiritual beast in a fight with a fisher? Wu Chen was also dumbfounded, but he was really shocked by Han Fei's strength. Is he really a level 9 fisher? Li Dao dared not look down upon Han Fei again. This was a life or death battle. If he didn't take his enemy seriously, he might be killed. A fat black fish suddenly rushed into Li Dao's body. His momentum suddenly increased and he roared and pounced at Han Fei. Someone shouted, "Watch out! Iron-headed fish has iron-like skin and bones. Now the hardness of his body has increased by at least 30%. Han Fei murmured, "Oh, 30%. Fury. Everyone was surprised to see that Han Fei's body suddenly inflated, the blue veins on his body stood out, and his eyes turned bloodshot. Bam! Li Dao was sent flying again, faster than the last time. Blood was gushing out of his mouth when he was still in midair. He asked himself, why did Han Fei suddenly become so strong? Before Li Dao hit the ground, he saw a rod flying at his head. Li Dao turned pale with fright, but what could he do in midair? Clang! Li Dao fell heavily to the ground and his face was almost smashed by the rod. Although he had fused with his iron-headed fish, he still could not withstand such a violent blow. The hardness of his body was improved by 30% after he fused with his spiritual beast, whereas Han Fei doubled his strength when he activated Fury. It was as plain as daylight which one was stronger. Han Fei pierced Li Dao's chest with the purple bamboo rod. Then he shouted at the members of the tiger who were scared out of their pants. Tell Li Ju that I will send him to see his son soon. Tell him to wait. Then Han Fei's face twitched and his body seemed to be deflated. He changed back to his original appearance. Who? Han Fei stumbled and almost fell. Fortunately, the battle ended quickly. It seemed that he still couldn't control Fury very well because this combat skill was too strong. Li Gang and Li Qing were stupefied at what they saw. Seeing Han Fei stumble, they quickly stepped forward to help Han Fei stand up. Everyone present was shocked. A fisher killed a fishing master, which happened for the first time in the Heavenly Water Village. Not only did Han Fei kill Li Dao, he was not injured at all, not even had his skin been scratched. What kind of a monster-like talent did he have? The tigers. Li Ju's eyes flickered with a cold gleam. Did Han Fei kill Li Dao? Yes, leader, I saw it with my own eyes, but Han Fei seems to use a secret technique. Although he killed Li Dao, his spiritual energy seemed to be exhausted. Li Ju narrowed his eyes. Han Fei must die. At first, he killed Li Lang and then Li Dao. 2 fishing masters of the tigers have been killed by him. This guy is growing too fast. He even wondered if Han Fei had hidden the true level of his spiritual heritage. Otherwise, how could he be growing so fast? At the village leader's home. What? Han Fei killed a fishing master. The village leader was stunned. Did old Zhang teach him some powerful combat skills? That could explain it. Old Zhang was the most mysterious person in Heavenly Water Village, and also the only one who he couldn't see through or defeat. Han Fei was really lucky. Was this the reason Han Fei refused to go to the town? On this day, no matter the East or West Fair, the entire floating island was talking about this matter. This was the biggest event in the Heavenly Water Village for decades. A fisher killed a fishing master. No one had ever heard of it before. Late at night, Han Fei asked Li Qing, "Where is the treasure house of the tigers?" Li Qing hurriedly stopped Han Fei. "Young master, you'd better not go there. That is heavily guarded by the tigers. Not only fishing masters, but also at least dozens of peak-level fishers are guarding this place. If anyone intrudes, Li Ju will soon arrive in person. The consequences are unpredictable." Han Fei retorted, "Do you think I'm stupid? I certainly won't just break into it. I just want to observe the terrain and wait for a proper chance. Don't waste my time, just tell me." "It's at." After Li Qing left, Han Fei sneered. "Li Ju, do you want to cut off my source of wealth and spiritual energy? Fine, I'll take all your treasure first." Chapter 84 Treasure Map. Chapter 84, Treasure Map. In the dark, Han Fei masked a black fish skin on his face. "Little Black, when you get in, take out anything you see, except those too big for you to carry. Do not leave behind anything you can carry. Understood?" Little Black rubbed intimately against Han Fei's face and flew out. Han Fei was surprised. Was a spiritual beast a fish or a soul? If he was a fish, why could he fly in the air without water? But if he was a soul, he could also swim in the water, eat, and bite people to death. Han Fei was lying in the woods in the distance and waiting motionless, turning into the same color as the vegetation. After a while, Little Black came out with a small bottle in his mouth. Han Fei opened the bottle and found it was a bottle of spirit refilling pills. Not bad. Seeing that Little Black didn't go but remained staring at the spirit refilling pill, Han Fei reluctantly poured a pill out of the bottle and threw it in his mouth. Little Black flew away in satisfaction. The second time, Little Black brought back a money bag with nearly 100 mid-quality pearls in it. Han Fei wasn't quite satisfied. "My barbecue stall has earned me lots of money. This money is nothing to me. But fine, it's money anyway." Han Fei felt he had to say something when Little Black brought him more than a dozen of these money bags in a row. "Little Black, let's steal something else. This stuff can't be eaten. The spiritual energy inside is little and not easy to use. Go steal something with spiritual energy or value, such as small bottles and small boxes." Little Black shuttled quickly. Han Fei calculated that it would take him about 5 minutes to make the round trip. It had only been 1 hour or so and the guards were still eating sea melon seeds together. 5 minutes later, Little Black brought him a small box. Han Fei opened it. Wow, a spiritual fruit. Because it was too fragrant, Han Fei immediately closed the box. Han Fei instructed, "Little Black, just steal this. Steal as many as there are." To Han Fei's disappointment, however, there were only 2 such spiritual fruits, which made him very unhappy. Li Qing said that Li Ju had sent a lot of people to find spiritual fruit. How could he only get 2? Little did Han Fei know that where there were spiritual fruit, there would be a strong guardian beast. The sea dragon he encountered last time was not something ordinary people could deal with. To get the 2 spiritual fruit in his hands, the tigers had lost dozens of members. If Li Ju knew that his spiritual fruits were stolen, he would have vomited blood in anger. The next day, roar, "You bunch of wastes, who robbed my treasure house?" Li Ju was going crazy. All the small things inside were gone and there wasn't even a single jelly bean left. The big ones such as weapons were left, but there were rows of teeth marks on them. Some weapons even disappeared, but who the FCK would eat weapons? Now Han Fei was sitting at home happily turning over the treasure he had got from the tigers, which filled a whole pocket. The 2 spiritual fruits alone were worth a lot of money, not to mention there were so many other things. 3 bottles of spirit refilling pills and Little Black ate half a bottle. There are still 7,500 points of spiritual energy left. Not bad. 1,314 mid-quality pearls. The tigers are really poor. Did they commit so many crimes just to collect such a small amount of money? In fact, unknown to Han Fei, there was a whole trunk of mid-quality pearls in the treasure house, but Little Black was unable to carry it. 27 bottles of iron fish body polishing fluid. The tigers are damn rich to have so much of this fluid. It is priceless, especially when you want to condition your body. Huh, wow, a treasure map. Han Fei was stunned and immediately pulled all the other stuff aside. Finding a treasure map in a box, he was beside himself with excitement. Han Fei smoothed out the fish skin on the table, and a small map appeared. The central area of the map was the floating island, below which were ordinary fisheries, but what was painted on the map was not the sea surface but the underwater terrain. There were many places marked on the map. Coral reefs, snake caves, undersea stone caves, spirit-absorbing jellyfish settlements, and dozens of other places were on the map. Among them, 3 places were marked as dangerous. One was a spirit-absorbing jellyfish settlement, one was an undersea stone cave, and the other was a boat-burying pit. Among these 3 places, only the name, boat-burying pit, was drawn in a circle. Han Fei frowned. He hadn't heard of any of these places, but from these names, he could tell these places were not common ones. Boat-burying pit, more than one ship must have sunk there. But why did ships sink to that place? Could it be that there was a magnetic field problem like Bermuda there? No, if there was a problem with the magnetic field, people must have found out about it. Who dared to go to ordinary fisheries then? Han Fei thought to himself, Li Ju must have explored this place, but he survived by a fluke. Otherwise, how would he know that there were a lot of fishing boats sinking in that place? The next day, Han Fei went to Li Qing. Uncle Qing, do you know where the boat-burying pit is? Li Qing immediately turned pale and he quickly said, Young master, you must not go there. It's very dangerous. Seeing Li Qing's reaction, Han Fei had already had a rough idea in his heart and said, Just tell me, I'm still banned from going to sea for 2 months. Li Qing was relieved to hear that, but he still looked a little frightened. Young master, there are actually a lot of dangers even in ordinary fisheries. People just don't know about them. The most dangerous place in our fisheries is this boat-burying pit. It's said that dozens of fishing boats disappear there every year. Young master, do you know where the wounds on leader? No, on Li Ju's body and face came from. Han Fei raised an eyebrow. He got those scars in this boat-burying pit. Li Qing replied, Yes, Li Ju was already an advanced fishing master at that time. Although he had not yet reached the peak, he was not far from it. He heard that several of his ships disappeared there, so he started to investigate in person. However, you know what, he returned with serious injuries only 15 minutes later and none of the people he took with him came back. At that time, he had at least hundreds of wounds on his body. Although he had a narrow escape, the scars on his face and body could never be removed. Han Fei quickly went on asking, Did he get his tiger head fish there? Li Qing paused and then shook his head. No, he got that tiger head fish from the spirit-absorbing jellyfish settlement. But you shouldn't go there either, young master. There are not many people fishing in that water. This spirit-absorbing jellyfish is also sold in the fair, but very few people bought it. It will absorb the spirit energy of other fishes. People who go to sea will easily have their spiritual energy sucked up by the jellyfish and die in the sea. At that time, Li Ju took more than 20 people to explore that place but only 7 of them came back. Fortunately, he was paid back and got his tiger head fish. Han Fei nodded and asked, Do you know where the undersea stone cave is? Li Qing was puzzled and shook his head. Is it at the bottom of ordinary fisheries? I have never heard of it. Okay, I'm afraid that the barbecue stall is going out of business right now. You and A gang can take a rest, stay at home, drink and have fun. Don't go outside. Yes, boss. On the way back to the plantation, Han Fei thought about it. There must be an opportunity in the spirit-absorbing jellyfish settlement. It may have been inhabited by a tiger head fish but that fish was taken away by Li Ju. There can't be any other opportunities. Otherwise, Li Ju would definitely have returned for the second time. But he wasn't sure whether Li Ju had ever been in the undersea stone cave or not. There were only 2 possibilities. One was that he hadn't been there and the other was that he had been there but found no opportunity. If it was the latter, then at least people could return safely from that place. But if it was the former, Li Ju didn't go there because of something he feared. Then it was worthy of his vigilance. But Han Fei was not afraid. That's treasure. How can a treasure hunt not be dangerous? But are treasure hunters afraid? Have I ever been afraid? No, All treasure hunters are full of adventurous spirit in their bones, and they all gamble with their lives. There must be a great chance in the boat-burying pit. I must go to this place. Chapter 85 Boat-Burying Pit. Chapter 85. Boat-Burying Pit. Sister Chin, can you do me a favor? Han Fei looked over at her. Can you lift the ban on me? I haven't gone to sea in more than a month and I feel suffocated. Zhang Qin didn't think this was a good idea just yet. No way. Li Ju's strength has been restored. If you go to sea, he may go to kill you. Don't overestimate your strength. Li Ju is not easy to deal with. You can't kill him yet. I won't let him know that I've gone to sea, and I'll come back quickly. Don't forget that I have the fishing boat that Fang Zi gave me. Can Li Ju's boats catch up with mine? Zhang Qin was not convinced. Don't even think of it. What you should do now is cultivation. Make the breakthrough to be a fishing master and I'll let you go. Han Fei was upset. Do you think I don't want to make a breakthrough? But I can't do it without enough spiritual energy. Han Fei sighed. He was frequently engaged in fights recently, so his spiritual energy was consumed very quickly. He had taken all the spirit refilling pills and spiritual fruits that he got from the tigers. However, including his own spiritual energy, he only had less than 60,000 points of spiritual energy, which was certainly not enough for him to break through to be a fishing master. According to the law of void fishing, he needed at least 50,000 points of spiritual energy to break through the bottleneck, and then he had to rebuild his body and push himself to the peak of a junior fishing master. He would need much more spiritual energy than 50,000 points. That night, all was quiet. Han Fei slipped out and headed for the port. His white fishing boat was still impounded there, hanging in the middle of the cliff of the floating island. There was a team of people on duty at the port who were chatting while eating sea melon seeds. All of a sudden, they heard a sound and it seemed that something had been knocked over. Who is it? Let's go check it out. Han Fei walked over quickly from the other side. As soon as he walked through, someone looked at this side and almost found him. Fortunately, at the moment, Han Fei was hanging himself on the edge of the cliff, which most people dared not to do because if he fell, he would definitely die. Ban me from going to sea. For what? This time I'll stay at the sea. For at least 5 days and nights. Next, Han Fei drove a stolen fishing boat to find his own boat. After a while, Han Fei had gone to sea. He shouted in joy and excitement. Haha, I'm finally free. You want to ban me from going to sea? Impossible. In the plantation, old Zhang questioned, why did you let the boy go to sea? He has secrets. Can't you see that he hates being cooped up on land? Zhang Qin speculated. He'd better pray to God not to be killed on the sea. Isn't it satisfying just to be a spirit gatherer? Why does he have to get into all this trouble? Of course, Han Fei could not hear them at the moment. He was carrying a treasure map in his hand and was determining which direction to head. Here we are. Half an hour later, Han Fei stopped, nervous and excited. So does my treasure hunt start again? Han Fei was very excited. He had more methods than Li Ju and he was confident that he was also stronger than him. Besides, he had wandering dragon art. Even if there was a danger, he would be able to escape. Han Fei was excited. He summoned Little Black and Little White, and they jumped into the sea with a flop. After more than a month of feeding, Little Black and Little White had upgraded to level 6 and could already hunt almost all the fish species in level 1 fisheries. After a while, Han Fei climbed onto the boat from the sea, scratching his head while gazing at the treasure map. There is no shipwreck below. Did I go in the wrong direction? Li Ju, you idiot, why didn't you mark the directions? What a waste of my time. Half an hour later, Han Fei shouted at Little Black, are you ready? Let's advance to the treasure. Flop. It was pitch dark underwater but Han Fei was not afraid at all. He had reached the peak of Fisher, so his eyes could already adapt to most of the dark waters. There are still a lot of fishes here. Did I run in the wrong direction again? 30 meters underwater, Han Fei saw a snake belt as long as 4 or 5 meters. His eyelids twitched. What a big snake belt. I can't believe my eyes. Little Black, eat him. Han Fei continued to dive, but the further he went down, the fewer fish he found. For some reason, his heart was pounding. Is something staring at me? But I don't see anything. When he continued to dive for 30 meters, he felt a chill down his spine. What caught his eye was a long trench less than 10 meters wide. Its depth was unknown. On both sides of the trench, there were shipwrecks all over the place, so densely packed that they could not be counted. At this very moment, Han Fei felt his wrists ache. Did his calabash feel something? Han Fei blinked and initiated the eyes of true vision. Then he saw that the spiritual energy here was exceptionally rich, especially in the trench, in which the spiritual energy was so abundant that it was about to overflow. Wow, treasure! Han Fei was overjoyed. Yes, he found it. At this time, Little Black had already killed the snakebelt. Han Fei waved, motioning Little Black to go into the trench and explore it. The trench was so narrow. Once an unknown event occurred, it was not easy for him to run away, so he'd better be careful. At the same time, Han Fei fell carefully on a sunken ship. Soaking in the water all year round, the hull of the ship had almost been covered by dark green water plants, so it was a bit slippery to step on. There were many pieces of human bones near the shipwreck. Obviously, these people had died long ago. Many bones were broken, which seemed to be caused by battering. Hiss! Han Fei quickly turned around, held the purple bamboo rod in his hand, and flew off the shipwreck instantly. The next moment, he saw a 2-meter-long crab appear on the shipwreck. Damn, an XL green crab. Hew! Something attacked him and Han Fei immediately counterattacked. With a clang, he was beaten back several meters. He turned around, only to see another large blade fish 3 to 4 meters long. Almost instantaneously, Han Fei filled his body with spiritual energy and swiftly approached the fish. Then he thrust a knife into the head of the fish and sent it to hell. At the same time, he quickly left. Strange, the creatures here are all huge. Han Fei stared closely at where the blade fish fell. After 1 or 2 minutes, a crab claw appeared, followed by several huge green crabs. As they gathered and tore open the blade fish's body, many more large green crabs crawled out of the wreck nearby. Han Fei felt his blood freeze and he tried to comfort himself. It's okay. They're just a little bigger. How about Little Black over there? Suddenly, Little White swam to the trench quickly. Little White, come back. Han Fei was anxious. Is Little Black in danger? But what kind of a creature can find Little Black and kill him? Han Fei looked around. Although there were a lot of big green crabs out there, very few of them crawled into the trench. Let me try my fortune. Han Fei was not afraid when entering the trench. He was used to crossing submarine caves without wearing oxygen masks. He knew the characteristics of fish. They might hunt things they were familiar with, and only a small part of them that were very aggressive were interested in strange creatures like humans. Of course, he was not sure about the fish here. The shallowest part of the trench was not deep and only as deep as about 50 meters. But as Han Fei dove all the way down, he found the deepest part here was close to 300 meters. Han Fei was quite proud. If it were before, how could he directly descend to a water zone 90 meters deep? The bottom of the trench was also covered with sunken ships, some of which were upside down. Han Fei stood on the shipwreck and gaped. He actually saw a huge cave at the bottom of the trench. From the top, it seemed that the bottom of the trench was as narrow as its opening, but now it didn't seem to be the case at all. The underwater cave at the bottom of the trench seemed to lead to a distant and unknown place. It seemed that the internal space was not small, but Han Fei didn't act rashly. Little White revolved around Han Fei and went to the cave from time to time as if beckoning Han Fei to go inside. No hurry, let me check it out. Han Fei took out the fishing rod behind his back, fastened a dagger to the fish hook with a fishing line, and shot it into the cave. As soon as the dagger went into the cave less than 30 meters, a monster suddenly jumped out of the sand at the bottom and pounced at the dagger. Han Fei was astounded. Thank God he didn't act rashly. Otherwise, he would definitely get snipped. He quickly withdrew the fishing line and the monster jumped up and chased the dagger. Not only that, Han Fei also noticed the surrounding sand bulge and there seemed to be something about to move. I'd like to see what it is. When the thing broke through the sand and revealed its full body, Han Fei ejected himself backwards immediately and floated up. What did he see? The 2 or 3 meter long stuff was not a fish at all but an ultra-large mantis shrimp. Shit. Chapter 86 Mantis Shrimp King. Chapter 86. Mantis Shrimp King. Less than name greater than mantis shrimp cub. Less than level greater than 10. Less than quality greater than regular. Less than spiritual energy greater than 111 points. Less than edible effects greater than its flesh is exceptionally delicious. Eating its flesh for a long time can build up your body. And eating mantis shrimp beads can quickly strengthen your physical strength. Less than collectible greater than mantis shrimp beads. Less than absorbable greater than. Han Fei was relieved to see that the shrimp was only at level 10. Although a level 10 shrimp was the strongest in ordinary fisheries, it wouldn't be able to hurt him, but was this only a cub? A cub with such a gigantic body? Then how big was an adult mantis shrimp? As he expected, the mantis shrimp began to chase him. His front claws were as long as 2 meters when they were fully opened. Clang! He swung the purple bamboo rod at the shrimp and hit the forearm of the mantis shrimp that attacked him at the same time. He struck first because only people who had gone to sea knew how strong a mantis shrimp's attack power was. His instantaneous explosive power could enable him to break a crab's claw with one blow. At the moment a mantis shrimp attacked, its speed, explosive power, and attack power would instantly reach their peak state. To Han Fei's surprise, however, this mantis shrimp only backed away a few meters and then shook its head. His 2 oval eyes stood up and stared at Han Fei. What strong defensive power, but I don't think I will lose to him. Han Fei smiled. At least this shrimp was not as strong as he imagined. Han Fei drew out a dagger and when the mantis shrimp punched at him, he leaned forward obliquely, narrowly dodging its attack, and at the same time thrust the dagger from his hand into the shrimp's neck, almost cutting the shrimp's head off. He kicked the mantis shrimp to the bottom of the sea and his heart was pounding fast. If he hadn't initiated the wandering dragon art instantly just now, his head would have been hit by the shrimp's claws. At this time, a group of mantis shrimps had gathered around. Han Fei frowned. How could he pass with so many mantis shrimps in his way? Wait a minute, although this creature loves to fight, I don't have to fight them myself. Han Fei immediately swam up. At this moment, a group of large green crabs was still watching with their eyes up. When they saw Han Fei rushing out, they lifted their claws one after another. Han Fei glanced around, found a large green turtle, and rushed straight over. Bam! The green turtle was knocked to death by Han Fei before he had any time to react. Han Fei took out his dagger, cut a dozen wounds on the green turtle, and then dragged it to the crabs. Lured by food, more and more big green crabs gathered up. Han Fei hit the claws of the big green crabs with his purple bamboo rod from a distance and then swam away quickly. Soon, hundreds of big green crabs began to chase after him. If they could talk, they would have shouted, "You are dead meat. How dare you tempt us with food and hit us? We're gonna crush your head with our claws." When they reached the trench, they didn't stop but they kept swimming in. Hundreds of green crabs had entered in only a short while. Han Fei thought, great. Cannon fodders, come on. Han Fei threw the green turtle into the trench and quickly swam away like a big fish. From a distance, Han Fei saw that the first big green crab that entered the trench was punched to pieces by the mantis shrimp in the blink of an eye. Oh, that's sad. Why were mantis shrimp's attacks described as punches? Because when mantis shrimp attack their enemies, they punch with their front claws just like a boxer. Only if they caught fish would they use their tongs. Now Han Fei probably understood why Li Ju went back with so many injuries. When a level 10 mantis shrimp was angered, no fish in the entire ordinary fisheries could resist him. Han Fei even suspected that even a big meat turtle wouldn't survive the attacks of a group of mantis shrimp. Of course, this mantis shrimp he saw wouldn't be able to hurt an advanced fishing master, so Han Fei guessed that there should be one or even a few more powerful mantis shrimp inside. He thought to himself, if those mantis shrimp don't come out, I won't get in. Perhaps the smells of blood and crab roe attracted the attention of fish. From time to time, green turtles, blade fish, white fish, and other fishes swam in along the trench. At this moment, there was a fierce battle in the trench. Han Fei saw that a green turtle sank to the bottom and his head was gone. Wow, Han Fei was not in a hurry now. He began to absorb spiritual energy on the side. As the battle grew fiercer, spiritual energy was continuously supplied. Staying too long undersea, Han Fei had to return to the sea surface to get some fresh air. The battle lasted for almost an hour and Han Fei had absorbed at least 10,000 points of spiritual energy. When he was happily absorbing spiritual energy, the water below suddenly became cloudy, and a blade fish tried to escape only to be crushed by a punch. Hiss! When the water became clear again, Han Fei saw another mantis shrimp and a string of data appeared in front of his eyes. Less than name greater than Mantis Shrimp King. Less than level greater than 19. Less than quality greater than rare exotic. Less than spiritual energy greater than 500 points. Less than edible effects greater than its flesh is exceptionally delicious. Eating its flesh can build up your body. And eating exotic mantis shrimp beads can greatly strengthen your physical strength. Less than collectible greater than mantis shrimp beads. Less than absorbable greater than. Han Fei was silent. A level 19 Mantis Shrimp King. This was the real reason that Li Ju came back with serious injuries. Although the data showed that the shrimp was only at level 19, Han Fei felt that the sea dragon he fought last time was a piece of cake in front of this Mantis Shrimp King. The latter would be able to crush the former's head with a single punch. Damn, this thing is too big. I can't beat him. Han Fei's eyes were shining. The fight between big green crabs and the mantis shrimp had almost finished, and body parts were scattered everywhere. The fish nearby had almost been killed off by the shrimp. Now the gigantic mantis shrimp king was chewing a blade fish. What a pity. If only I hadn't eaten the spiritual fruits stolen from the tigers. If I take them out, they will definitely attract a lot of large green crabs and fishes. Spiritual energy. If I cultivate here, no. The mantis shrimp king will kill me. Or, should I attract some more fish to come here? Han Fei hadn't tried to cultivate in the sea before, neither had anyone else in the Heavenly Water Village. He forcibly took Little Black back and swam a few kilometers away before stopping. Han Fei asked the fish, "Where did you go? Guard my side and allow no creatures to come near me." When he initiated void fishing, he was shocked. The spiritual energy didn't come from the sky but from all directions. Soon, countless large green crabs, sea snails, rotating starfish, and blade fish swarmed one after another. Han Fei felt something bump into him and then bump again. He opened his eyes. "Didn't I tell you not to allow any creatures to come near me?" Shit. Seeing countless fish and crabs coming from all directions, Han Fei immediately stopped cultivating and ran away. Little Black was stunned too. "There's too many. I can't eat them all. Sorry, Master." Just as Han Fei left, a large school of fish swarmed in, as well as countless large green crabs. They all dashed at him fiercely as if going to cut him to pieces with their claws. "Oh, are the fishes crazy? My spiritual energy has increased by more than 400 points in such a short time." Han Fei took a deep breath. He had cultivated several times more spiritual energy on the seabed than on a fishing boat at night. No wonder it caused such a stir. "Little Black, when you get a chance, get into the shell of that big mantis shrimp and eat it from inside." Little Black kept circling around Han Fei as if protesting, "The shrimp's shell is too tough for me." Han Fei patted his own chest. "I'll help you. I will open a hole in the back of his head. Remember to slip into his shell from the hole and eat quickly. If you can't eat him, I'll be eaten by him." Boat burying pit, in the trench. Han Fei rushed directly into the trench. Now he didn't have time to keep an eye on the mantis shrimp king in front. What was behind him was even more terrifying. When he was about to reach the bottom of the trench, he saw that the big mantis shrimp king had retracted his two claws, exposing half of his body, ready to attack at any time. However, Han Fei suddenly condensed a column of spiritual energy in his hand and shot it directly at the mantis shrimp king. The mantis shrimp king was stunned. "What is this strange fish doing? Why is he sending me spiritual energy?" Han Fei kept grabbing one mass of spiritual energy after another from the void and stuffed them into the body of the mantis shrimp king. Seeing this scene, the fishes and crabs behind were all in an uproar. "Wow, spiritual energy, so much spiritual energy." Bam! The fishes rushed up and rammed the mantis shrimp, turning the seabed dusty and sand and stones flew all over. With continuous clangs and clanks, crabs were hitting the shell of the mantis shrimp with their claws. But undoubtedly, they couldn't hurt him at all. It was like a group of 4 or 5-year-olds trying to beat an 18-year-old youth. The odds of success were slim. Quantity didn't make any difference. Han Fei hid aside, no longer transmitting spiritual energy to the shrimp. Instead, he held a knife in his hand and swam tens of meters away from the Mantis Shrimp King, waiting for a chance to make a move. Chapter 87 Make a Fortune. Chapter 87. Make a Fortune. If the Mantis Shrimp King could speak, he would have definitely scolded Han Fei. Where the FCK did all this food come from? There's too many of them. The Mantis Shrimp King was attacking wildly with all its legs and killed several large green crabs with a single punch. However, shrimp power had its limits. Although he was strong, there were too many enemies here, especially creatures like blade fish that were really hard to deal with. They kept darting their fin blades at them and now both of his tentacles had been broken. Han Fei took out 2 spirit refilling pills and put them into his mouth, holding the knife in his hand and waiting for the right time. When the Mantis Shrimp King punched a large green crab, he exposed the part connecting his head and body. A cold gleam flickered in Han Fei's eyes and he suddenly approached him as fast as he could. Fury, Universe Machete. In an instant, Han Fei's combat power rose to its peak. With a cold flash, he pierced the neck of the Mantis Shrimp with his knife. Little Black, come on. Han Fei quickly retreated and swallowed 2 spirit refilling pills. Although spiritual energy quickly returned to his body, he still felt weak all over. The Mantis Shrimp King immediately went violent, drilled out of the sand, and exposed his whole body that was as long as 10 meters. As his legs twitched and punched, his gigantic body rushed forward while swarms of large green crabs were torn into pieces. The Mantis Shrimp King was flapping and tumbling for at least 5 minutes, and in the end, he trembled, reared his claws, and shot out 2 visible water blades. Wherever the blades cut, all fishes were dismembered. When the stirred soil settled, only dismembered corpses, cracked shells, and countless crab claws were scattered around the trench. Han Fei took a deep breath. He wondered how Li Ju survived the attack of this huge mantis shrimp. Even a fishing master might not be able to beat him. At this time, Little Black stuck his head out of the shell of the mantis shrimp and looked around. When he spotted Han Fei, he quickly slipped out and swam to him. Han Fei glanced at it and said, "Well done. I'll award you when we go back." Han Fei didn't leave the trench. There were too many fish bodies here and spiritual energy was everywhere. The demon purification pot on his wrist began to absorb spiritual energy. As spiritual energy flowed in, Han Fei's spiritual energy was rocketing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Haha, I should have gone to sea earlier. I've absorbed more spiritual energy in just 1 hour here than I could in a month in the village. His spiritual energy value no longer rose after reaching 86,211 points as the spiritual energy here had all been absorbed by him. Han Fei was looking at the data in a daze when Little White tugged at his arm. Seeing Little White try to swim into the cave, Han Fei patted his own head. Yes, I'm here to hunt for treasure. I haven't found any treasures yet. What am I happy about? The cave was very deep. Han Fei swam as far as 2 kilometers, only to find that the road had come to an end. Did I reach the end? Han Fei swam upward. Han Fei was shocked when he rose to the surface. This was an underwater cave with an area of about 100 square meters. When he came out of the water, he saw a stone tablet with the words, "Any trespassing fishing master or above will die." The smile on Han Fei's face disappeared when he saw these words. There seemed to be a great threat in this cave. Han Fei swallowed. I am not a fishing master yet. It should be fine if I go in. He climbed ashore, looked around, and was at once certain that someone used to cultivate here. There were a bed, a table and stools, and a large pool of 5 or 6 square meters in the cave. Han Fei's gaze followed the mantis shrimp's footprints, which was leading to the pool. He walked over and immediately felt a rush of spiritual energy. There was an abundance of spiritual energy here and there was a milky liquid dripping into the pool from above. Wow, the spiritual energy here is really rich. Is this pool full of liquefied spiritual energy? It was a pity that there was not much white liquid left in the pool, probably only enough to be ankle deep. It must have been sucked away by the mantis shrimp king. Han Fei planned to explore the entire cave, but Little Black and Little White were already bathing cheerfully in the milky pool. Han Fei's face immediately changed. Just now, the two fishes flashed, which he had seen 5 or 6 times this month. This meant that Little Black and Little White had upgraded. Upon seeing this, Han Fei immediately sat into the pool and began to cultivate. Shit, I finally found a treasure. How can I let the two fishes take it from me? That's unacceptable. As soon as he sat into the pool, even before he began to cultivate, he felt that spiritual energy was pouring into his body. Overjoyed, he immediately initiated void fishing art. Soon, his face turned red and he felt spiritual energy rolling throughout his body. The spiritual energy flowing in the meridians was so enriched that they were burning. Breakthrough. As Han Fei shouted, the spiritual energy in his body instantly permeated into his bones and muscles, and at the same time, the white liquid in the pool drilled into his body which was visible to the naked eye. After 4 or 5 minutes, Han Fei felt resistance. Is it the last obstacle before becoming a fishing master? Break. After hitting dozens of times in a row, something seemed to break. Han Fei felt the jammed spiritual energy in his body instantly begin to flow smoothly. As trickles were converging and spiritual energy was gathering up like rivers flowing into the sea, his meridians became tougher, his bones clicked and his muscles bulged. There seemed to be an explosive force in his body. Han Fei knew that the breakthrough had not yet finished, and the spiritual energy was rapidly strengthening his physique. After about half an hour, Han Fei felt that his body had been rebuilt and he had reached the peak of a junior fishing master. If he was willing, he would even be able to make the next breakthrough to be an intermediate fishing master. At this moment, his face suddenly changed. He tried to stand up. If he made another breakthrough before he adapted himself to the breakthrough just now, his cultivation foundation would be undermined. Why can't I stop? Han Fei was a bit helpless. Void fishing was still running automatically and oppressing him. Hey, Calabash, Calabash, help me. Calabash, my dear Calabash. Little Black, drink this pool dry. Little did he know that at this moment, Little Black and Little White were lying in the pool motionlessly and their bellies were bulging. They were too full to move. Han Fei was surprised. Why is spiritual energy still pouring into my body even though I'm not cultivating? Is it because I am sitting in this pool to cultivate? No, my body will explode if I don't continue to make the next breakthrough. Just when Han Fei was anxious, he suddenly remembered the Forge the Universe he had that was only as large as a few square feet. Could it be expanded? Without hesitation, Han Fei kept transmitting the spiritual energy that was running in his body into Forge the Universe. To his surprise, it was expanding bit by bit and had expanded by more than 1 meter in under a minute. When the space in Forge the Universe was expanded to 10 square meters, the expansion speed immediately dropped. The garlic, peppers, and other plants he planted in it began to grow, catalyzed by the spiritual energy and soon matured. Half a day or perhaps 1 day later, Han Fei's Forge the Universe had expanded to nearly 50 square meters. Han Fei suddenly remembered his white fishing boat and wondered where it had drifted. After all, it had been so long and the boat should have drifted away by now. If only Forge the Universe became a rectangle, then he could throw the ship into it. As soon as this idea popped up in his mind, he was surprised to see Forge the Universe suddenly change from a circular space into a rectangular one. Wow, am I seeing this right? Han Fei froze. Could he change the shape of this space at will? With a thought from Han Fei, a pool appeared in Forge the Universe. And as he thought again, this space changed into a square. This is awesome. Can I conjure something up in it? Han Fei thought for a while and decided to conjure up a pig. He hadn't eaten pork for a long time. Unfortunately, nothing had changed in this space this time. Han Fei tried many times. It turned out that he could only change the terrain of the space, but not any flower, tree, bird, or beast inside or outside the space. But this made sense. If he could conjure living beings, wouldn't he be the creator? In the end, the area of Forge the Universe stopped at about 60 square meters and Han Fei no longer felt massive spiritual energy pounding his body. Han Fei opened his eyes, only to find that his body was covered with filth. He had no time to clean himself up but he looked at his data. Less than owner greater than Han Fei. Less than level greater than 13, Junior Fishing Master. Less than spiritual energy greater than 156,666 points, 559. Less than spiritual heritage greater than level 3, mid-quality upgradable. Less than spiritual beast greater than twin yin-yang spirit swallowing fish. Less than weapon greater than purple bamboo rod. Less than main art greater than void fishing, chapter 1. Hook kiss mortal level, divine quality. Huh, I didn't upgrade my spiritual heritage. Why was it upgraded? And why is the upgradable part behind it grayed out? Han Fei was a bit panicked. Is it because my spiritual heritage was upgraded too quickly? Or are there conditions that have not been met, so I can't upgrade it? Chapter 88 Indestructible Body. Chapter 88 Indestructible Body. Han Fei repeatedly pondered over the information revealed by this string of data. First of all, his spiritual heritage might not be able to be upgraded for the time being. It seemed to be limited by some unknown power. He tried upgrading it with spiritual energy, but nothing happened. Then he noticed the change in his level. It must have taken him a lot of spiritual energy to upgrade to a fishing master and improve his strength to be at the peak of a junior fishing master. It was precisely this number that reminded him of something. In everyone's eyes, fishing masters had no difference in level, only in quality, but the data only showed that he was level 13. It didn't show his specific quality. This was very important, which meant that there might be a big gap between junior fishing masters. Although the upper limit of his spiritual energy had been increased to 559 points, he felt that he still had a lot of room for improvement. After all, he hadn't finished practicing the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing and his physique hadn't reached its peak yet. Thinking of this, Han Fei felt that it was necessary for him to solidify his foundation now. More haste, less speed. Although it was good to become stronger, if his strength was increased too fast, there would definitely be problems. This was common sense. Of course, Han Fei didn't plan to practice the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing here because he hadn't finished exploring the cave yet. Han Fei looked down only to see that little black and little white were shining with spiritual energy. The two little guys upgraded fast indeed. Even their bellies bulged. Of course, what surprised Han Fei most was the white liquid in this pool. Now, it was completely gone. It must have been used up when he was expanding Forge the Universe. Otherwise, the spiritual energy contained in the white liquid would be enough to burst his body dozens of times. Han Fei summoned back Little Black and Little White and they began to explore this space. In addition to beds, tables, and stools, there was also a place for cultivation. Seeing it, Han Fei knew that he used the wrong cultivation method just now. Even the owner didn't sit in the pool to cultivate. He was stupid to do that, but he was mainly affected by the footprints of the Mantis Shrimp King. Walking through the place where the owner of the cave cultivated, Han Fei found several pockets on the rock wall, and when he walked past, he found 2 books. Han Fei picked up a book without a name and looked at it. It was the owner's self-record of his cultivation. The record dated back to when this person discovered the underwater cave. The first page stated, "I was defeated and fell to this place. I thought that I would die here. However, I found a spiritual spring in this ordinary fishery. Unfortunately, my injuries are too serious and the spiritual spring is too little to make up for my losses. I know that I don't have much time left, but I can do nothing about it." Page 2. My cultivation foundation has been damaged and I can no longer cultivate. Fine, let this cave be my tomb. Page 3. On the 7th day I'm lying here and waiting for death. The spiritual energy in my body has been exhausted and I can't absorb any spiritual energy from the spiritual spring. I know, I am doomed. Page 4. This sea area is abundant with mantis shrimp. They taste good. I am accompanied by mantis shrimp every day. Page 5. Why am I still alive? I've been waiting for death here for a month. Why am I still alive? Page 6. I have had an amazing discovery. Do cultivators only need spiritual energy? Wrong. Completely wrong. After consuming mantis shrimps for a long time, I found myself full of energy. My mental power and energy are intertwined. Without spiritual energy, I'm even capable of telekinesis. God of the sea, I found a great secret. Does cultivation only need spiritual energy? No, using spiritual energy is only one of the ways to cultivate. There is still another way. When Han Fei read this, his heart was pounding hard. What does the cave owner mean? He no longer had any spiritual energy, but he could still cultivate. What does this mean? Han Fei continued to read eagerly. Page 7. It took me a year to create the physical training method. Now I'm confident that even a hidden fisher won't be able to beat me after I've tempered my body with this method. But this art still has a weakness. I know, my mental power is seriously damaged. Haha, wait for me to find a way to restore my mental strength. When I return, I will wipe out the entire 1,000-star city. Han Fei hurriedly turned the page, only to find that there was no more. Did this mean that the owner had left to find a way to restore his mental strength? FCK. It feels like I missed 100 million yuan. Han Fei continued to read the other book. Turning the first page, he saw two large words, indestructible body. Han Fei was shocked. He just felt that he had missed 100 million yuan, and then he found that this guy had left him the physical training method. Han Fei excitedly turned another page, but this page was not about the training method. Han Fei's eyelids twitched when he read its contents. I don't know who will inherit my indestructible body, but you can enter here when you're still a fisher, which shows that you're quite talented. You have two choices. The first is to give up and leave the indestructible body art here. The second one is to practice it. Then even if you are a waste, you can be a god as long as you are willing to work hard. However, if you choose to practice the indestructible body, you are my disciple. Remember not to tell anyone you're Ren Tianfei's disciple when you go to the 1,000-star city. Otherwise, you'll probably be killed by my enemies. Of course, it's also possible that you are such a waste that you'll still die early even if you've practiced indestructible body. But it doesn't matter. I've left a map for you. If you can set foot in a level 3 fishery, you can use the map. If you can't even go to a level 3 fishery or find my treasure trove, then you are basically a waste and don't deserve to be my disciple. Sure enough, Han Fei did find a fish skin map at the end of the book. It was a map of a sea area that he had never seen before. The topography was very complicated, and a red dot was circled. Han Fei found this guy both funny and annoying. He was so arrogant that he wanted to wipe out a city and even become a god. But Han Fei liked that. Han Fei hummed while flipping through the book. I'm not going to be your disciple. You have so many enemies. I don't want to get into trouble. But I owe you one. He opened the page and it read, the mysterious human body can be basically divided into 5 levels: skin, flesh, internal organs, bones, and marrow. If you finish tempering your skin, no weapon can penetrate your skin. If you finish tempering your flesh, your body will become extremely flexible. If you finish tempering your internal organs, any wound you have can heal by itself. If you finish tempering your bones, your fist will be even harder than the best weapon. If you finish tempering your marrow, your body will be indestructible and you'll be a god. Han Fei's mouth was almost watering. That's the most valuable treasure I've ever seen. It's completely different from those garbage books in the library of the Heavenly Water Village. This is a genuinely magical art, and its author is a real genius. Han Fei habitually looked at the data of the indestructible body. Indestructible body, venerable level, peerless quality. Less than remarks greater than. The peerless genius of the 1,000-star city created this physical training method, indestructible body, at the lowest point of his life, which is only one step away from a divine quality art. Less than deduced art greater than, indestructible overlord body. Less than required spiritual energy greater than, 100 million points. Han Fei was dumbfounded and dazzled as he rubbed his eyes. Damn, that's ridiculous. Are you serious? 100 million points. You might as well kill me. Han Fei didn't know what to say. 100 million points. Isn't the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing also of venerable level? Why is this one so special? 100 million points required to deduce it. But Han Fei was still very happy to get this art. After all, a wonderful combat skill like Shadowless Hand was only of mortal level, divine quality, whereas this indestructible body reached the venerable level, which must be a very advanced combat skill. Although he was still unclear about the hierarchy of different arts, he had a rough idea of how advanced this art was from the spiritual energy required to deduce it. If this weren't a great art, would it require so many spiritual energy points to deduce it? Han Fei immediately threw the book into Forge the Universe. He would never leave it to others now that he had got it. If it was taken by someone else, he would cry himself to death. Han Fei explored around the rest of the cave and found nothing else. Then he walked out without hesitation. When he left, he said to the air, "I'm taking away this treasure, but I won't stop to find the next treasure. The next treasure, wait for me. It won't take me long." Chapter 89 Fighting Li Ju. Chapter 89 Fighting Li Ju. Li Ju got the news early in the morning that Han Fei stole his own fishing boat and went out to sea. For this reason, the village leader said that when Han Fei came back, he would lock his fishing boat in his house and make him stay put on the floating island. The news couldn't be concealed. Li Ju had been waiting for this moment a long time. A few days ago, Han Fei killed a fishing master of the tigers, although he was still a fisher. If Han Fei was given more time, he might really end up as his whetstone and never be able to avenge his son. Li Ju went out to sea too. Instead of leaving from the main port, he left secretly. Although Li Ju left secretly, his action did not escape the eyes of some people. At this moment, the plantation. The village leader was angry. "Old Zhang, why did you let that kid go to sea? If he dies at sea, how would I explain it to Tang Jie when he returns?" Old Zhang lay on his chair and said slowly, "You know nothing. Tang Jie kept Li Ju as a whetstone for that kid. If he doesn't go through hardships, why does he need a whetstone? If he dies, then he can only blame himself for his incompetence. Who else can he blame?" The village leader shouted, "Easier said than done. You are not the village leader. Of course, you are not under pressure. Also, Li Ju has already gone to sea. Although I have asked Wang Jia to look for Han Fei, I'm not sure if he can find him since the fishery is so big." If Zhang Qin appeared at the moment. Han Fei is not as weak as you think. Although he is unable to beat Li Ju, he won't have any problem escaping. The village leader was stunned. What did she mean? Did she mean that a fisher wouldn't have any problem surviving the hunt of a fishing master who already reached a peak level? Outside the cave, Han Fei cheerfully picked out the mantis shrimp beads from the heads of the mantis shrimp, and at the same time, stuffed the body of the mantis shrimp king into Forge the Universe. His shell was tough indeed. He could make some knives from it. Only 168 mantis shrimp beads. Han Fei looked at the bodies scattered all over the place and was shocked. The combat power of mantis shrimp was really strong. Only 100 mantis shrimp had killed thousands of fish and crabs, half of which were killed by the mantis shrimp king. If he weren't bitten to death by Little Black, he would have been able to kill even more fishes and crabs. After swimming out of the trench, Han Fei glanced at the shipwrecks and went straight to the sea surface. On the way, a snakebelt wanted to come over to bite Han Fei, but the current Little Black was not the fish he was yesterday. He had grown 10 centimeters longer and no longer looked like a baby fish. The snakebelt was instantly bitten in two by Little Black, completely unable to fight back. Han Fei stuck his head out of the sea, and his first reaction was that it seemed to have just dawned. Han Fei let out a breath. That's great. Although the boat burying pit was not very remote, it was nearly 500 miles away from the Heavenly Water Village. There won't be many people coming here to fish. Little Black, Little White, go find my ship. Han Fei didn't see his boat. No one knew where it had drifted after the whole night had passed, but it should be within 50 miles. So Han Fei practiced wind footwork while searching around. If someone was nearby at the time, their jaw would drop. A guy was walking on the sea like flying. Although he could only fly dozens of meters at a time before falling into the sea, he was still flying. By the time Han Fei found the white fishing boat, it was already 30 miles away. Before finding it, he ran in the wrong direction, so he came to the original spot again. During this time, he saw 2 fishing boats and some people fishing. Han Fei certainly couldn't let them see him, so he swam underwater like a big humanoid fish. When he got on the boat, Han Fei wasn't in a hurry to go back. After all, he stole the fishing boat and snuck out to sea. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to get out again after going back, and he would probably be made to till the land in the plantation. But Han Fei didn't want to do that now. He had learned spirit's concentration art. Unless the old man was willing to teach him something new, he didn't want to till the land now. Perhaps Zhang Qin could teach him some new combat skills, but after thinking about it, he thought that the 5 combat skills he had just practiced were enough for now. And what good stuff could be found in the Heavenly Water Village? He might as well stay at sea to study the indestructible body. This art was really cool. Of course, Han Fei was not in a hurry to study that art now. He began to practice the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing. He had just become a fishing master and needed to harden his body. When Han Fei practiced the 108 stances again, he felt that they were easier to practice. Maybe it was because his strength had been improved. It would normally take him nearly 6 hours to practice all the 108 stances before, but now he only needed 4 hours. Just when Han Fei was practicing the 8th posture, with a swish, something came out of the air. Han Fei immediately stopped practicing and ducked aside, only to see a fish hook shining with spiritual energy appear in front of him. A fishing boat appeared out of nowhere dozens of meters away. When Li Ju found out that his map had been stolen and that Han Fei stole the ship and slipped away, he knew that Han Fei must have read his map. He thought that Han Fei would go to the undersea cave first, but he didn't find Han Fei there, so he went to the spirit-absorbing jellyfish settlement. After all, he had gotten his tiger head fish from there. However, Li Ju was surprised to find that he wasn't there either, so he guessed that this damned guy must have gone to the boat-burying pit. Li Ju hoped that Han Fei wouldn't go there because if he did, he would be torn to pieces, but Li Ju wanted revenge with his own hands. After all, the Mantis Shrimp King was too terrifying. He felt lucky that he was able to survive him last time. Han Fei, you be **starred, I've got you. You won't be able to escape today. Looking at Li Ju who came leaping forward, Han Fei grabbed in the air and with a flash, the purple bamboo rod appeared in his hand. Bam! Han Fei stepped back 7 or 8 steps feeling his arms slightly numb. He squinted. Li Ju was really a worthy peak-leveled fishing master. His strength was shocking. But he didn't know that Li Ju was also shocked. How can Han Fei be safe and sound after being hit by me? You're already a fishing master. Han Fei twisted his neck. I've just become a fishing master and you just happened to come around. Li Ju was shocked. This bastard was so talented. He used to suspect that it was because of Tang Ji's help that Han Fei had been upgrading so quickly and smoothly. But now Tang Ji had left. Which level was Han Fei at when Tang Ji left? But now Han Fei was already a fishing master. Li Ju's face changed slightly. Even if you're a fishing master, so what? I must kill you today. How do you know that I'm not purposely waiting for you here? Your movement is restricted in the floating island, so is mine. Since you've come here, just stay here forever. Arrogant bastard. Go to hell. After Li Ju launched a wild spiritual energy explosion attack, Han Fei, who also exerted a spiritual energy explosion attack, was shaken more than 20 meters away. Han Fei's arms were numb and his internal organs were tumbling. He felt very uncomfortable. However, just when Li Ju thought that Han Fei was about to fall into the water, Han Fei walked back on the air as if a gust of wind had sent him back. His face turned ferocious and he let out a strange laugh, which was a bit creepy. How is this possible? Li Ju was really shocked. He used 80% of his force on the last hit, but Han Fei remained intact and could even fight back. Clang, clang, clang. Han Fei moved extremely fast. The purple bamboo rod danced in his hand like a dagger and stabbed at Li Ju's eyes, throat, private parts, armpits, and other vital parts of his body. That's strange. What secret technique are you using? Li Ju's face changed. Han Fei was stronger than just now, which he could obviously feel. Han Fei was a little crazy and his attacks were getting fiercer and fiercer. The power of each blow was overwhelming, and he thought to himself, since the creator of the Crazy Devil's Rod killed 2 fishing masters with the strength of a fisher, why can't I? However, after 10 minutes or so, Han Fei found that Li Ju remained silent but didn't retreat in the slightest. They seemed to be equal. Does this old fox want to exhaust my spiritual energy? Chapter 90 Li Ju's Death. Chapter 90. Li Ju's Death. Han Fei smiled. Do you want to exhaust my spiritual energy? Are you kidding me? Explode. Li Ju's eyes were cold, and when Han Fei launched a spiritual energy explosion attack, he did the same at the same time. Han Fei was sent flying through the air again, but once again, he flew back and fought Li Ju. In just a few minutes, Han Fei was sent flying 7 or 8 times, but he was still shouting. Li Ju, the leader of the tigers, is this all you can do? Aren't you a peak-leveled fishing master? Aren't you going to be a great fishing master? Come on, hit me, kill me. Li Ju almost vomited blood in anger. What kind of chance did Han Fei get? How did he suddenly become so strong? Was his spiritual energy really endless? If he didn't kill him today, how could he beat him in the future? Die. Suddenly, Li Ju punched Han Fei away and took the chance to put some spirit-refilling pills into his own mouth. When Han Fei pounced at him again, he frowned. There must be something wrong. In an instant, Han Fei's toe tips touched the ground and he flew back. At the same time, Li Ju split his rod into 2 pieces, exposing 2 thin knives, and he thrust them at Han Fei. Han Fei hurriedly changed his posture and narrowly ducked the 2 knives. Han Fei's face changed slightly. What a tricky angle. Did he learn it from me? But that's a knife, not a rod. No matter how sturdy my body is, you can't stab it with a knife. Ho, Li Ju, you really let me down. Is that all you've got? Li Ju stood still and coldly stared at Han Fei. I have to say, you may be the most talented person in the Heavenly Water Village in this past century except Tang Jie, but so what? I slaughtered my way through and got where I'm today from being a nobody. You're no match for me. Since you want to die, let me help you. Tiger Head, fuse with me. Han Fei's eyes narrowed. He had been waiting for this moment. Although they seemed to tie, Li Ju did not exert his full strength. Even if he used the Crazy Devil's Rod, he still couldn't beat him. It could be seen that although the Crazy Devil's Rod was powerful, it couldn't help him win. Its creator must have only killed 2 junior fishing masters. Little Black, bite him. Huh. Li Ju glanced around but found nothing at all, but at the next moment, there was a pain in his thigh. When he looked down, a piece of flesh had been bitten off. Li Ju's look changed greatly. What is it? Before Li Ju had the time to react, the same place on his thigh was bitten again. Ouch! Li Ju immediately filled his body with spiritual energy. What is this? What hex do you use? Han Fei chuckled. I'll tell you when you die. Han Fei also filled his body with spiritual energy and attacked him again. This time, he felt completely different. Li Ju's attacks were so swift and fierce that he even diffused his spiritual energy explosion with his knives. When Han Fei didn't pay attention, he was cut in the chest. Although he wasn't seriously wounded, he had to fill his body with spiritual energy again. Interesting. Your strength was improved by level after fusing with your tiger head fish, but so what? You're still a peak-leveled fishing master. You're still not my match. Han Fei evaded Li Ju's double knives and jumped in the air, shouting, fuse. The next moment, a yin-yang pattern instantly covered up his body, and one of Han Fei's eyes became black and one white while his momentum soared. Li Ju was shocked. It's impossible. How can a spirit-swallowing fish bring such a strong fusion effect? Ho ho. In Han Fei's eyes, blood was circulating in Li Ju's body and spiritual energy was rolling in his meridian, which was as plain as daylight to him. Clang. When their fists collided, the corner of Li Ju's mouth twitched. Just a moment ago, he saw a cold flash, and then his spiritual energy explosion attack was diffused. He turned around, only to see that 2 knives appeared in Han Fei's hand and his purple bamboo rod was gone. Do you use knives too? Ho ho. A sudden thirst for blood seized Han Fei. Having this feeling once again, he was still terrified, and at the moment of fusion, he felt that his strength should surpass that of a junior fishing master. Li Ju's movements were not as fast or powerful as before. Die. They were both using double knives and fighting fiercely. Only in 10 minutes, Li Ju had more than a dozen wounds on his body, and his spiritual energy explosion attacks had been diffused 3 times. Li Ju was confused. How is it possible? How can you be so strong? Your spiritual beast can't be a spirit-swallowing fish. Han Fei's face was grim and his voice was hoarse. My spiritual beast is twin, yin-yang, spirit-swallowing fish. Li Ju was astounded. It turned out that his spiritual beast was not an ordinary spirit-swallowing fish but a very powerful exotic fish. No wonder his strength became so terrifying after the fusion. Every time he almost cut him, he would narrowly dodge it. Although he came this close to killing him, he failed in the end. Li Ju would not give up. No, I won't lose. Blade fish, fuse with me. The next moment, a blade fish rushed into Li Ju's body from the void. Few people knew that Li Ju used knives, and even fewer people knew that Li Ju had a spiritual beast. Everyone knew that Li Ju had a tiger head fish as his contractual spiritual fish and thought that he had no spiritual beast or his spiritual beast had already died, but who knew that Li Ju's spiritual beast was the most common, a blade fish. Obviously, blade fish were too common and could be seen everywhere in the Heavenly Water Village. But with such a spiritual beast Li Ju still became the leader of the tigers, which demonstrated his ability. With one eye black and one white eye, Han Fei looked very calm. No one knew what he was thinking. In fact, Han Fei was thinking about how to kill Li Ju at this moment. Once again, he dashed at Li Ju again carrying the knives. The double knives in his hand danced like flying butterflies and looked gorgeous. But this time, he failed to defuse Li Ju's spiritual energy explosion attack. From time to time, Han Fei saw a transparent knife shoot from Li Ju's body. Although it was almost invisible, it could not escape his eyes. Han Fei looked down at the wound on his right shoulder that was left by the knife. He had seen the knife coming just now but couldn't dodge it. Li Ju sneered, "You have many means, but so what? Your real strength just equals to that of a junior fishing master. How long can you keep this special fighting state?" Han Fei clenched his knives and said lightly, "Fury." In an instant, Han Fei got close to him. He waved the knives so fast that only shadows could be seen. Li Ju had just barely blocked the first 10 attacks but failed to block his attack again. In a blink of an eye, a dozen wounds appeared on his body and he was drenched with blood. This brutal battle continued. Impossible. Li Ju let out a desperate roar. Why did this guy suddenly become even stronger? He shot 7 or 8 knives simultaneously, but Han Fei twisted his body in strange postures and dodged them all. No ordinary people could twist their bodies like that. Swish, swish. After only several minutes, Li Ju was covered with blood and his hands had turned to bones. Li Ju looked incredulously at his hands that had become bones and then at the 2 knives respectively in his left and right chest. Han Fei looked calm and the gleam in his black and white eyes seemed about to go out, but in the end, they didn't. Han Fei grinned eerily and his twisted face was all bloody. He pulled Li Ju over, opened his mouth, and bit his neck. After dozens of minutes, Han Fei terminated the fusion with difficulty. At the moment he terminated the fusion, he threw up. Shit, I bit a human again. I don't want to do it. Little Black, why didn't you tell me that human flesh is so gross? Ew. Of course, Han Fei hadn't really eaten any human flesh. He just killed Li Ju by biting off all the flesh of his neck. Perhaps he subconsciously resisted eating human flesh, so he spat the flesh out. But even so, the strong bloody smell almost made him faint. Han Fei ate a spirit refilling pill and lay on the fishing boat, exhausted. Little White swam over and kissed Han Fei's cheek, and then swam to Han Fei's mouth, giving Han Fei a mouthful of pure spiritual energy. Ew. Han Fei wanted to faint again. I not only ate human flesh, but also ate spiritual energy spat out by a fish. Although this spiritual energy is very pure, it is still from a fish's mouth. Chapter 91 The Fish Dragons. Chapter 91 The Fish Dragons. In the evening, Wang Jia finally found Han Fei. The moment Wang Jia boarded the fishing boat, he gaped. There was blood all over the deck, as well as some suspicious pieces of flesh, and Li Ju's rod was left on the deck. Han Fei, Han Fei. Han Fei knew it was Wang Jia, but he didn't open his eyes. He was too tired. Although he had just restored some strength, he still didn't want to move. Mr. Wang, I'm fine. Wang Jia let out a sigh of relief and immediately asked, "Where is Li Ju?" Han Fei pointed to the deck and said, "I threw him to the sea to feed the fish." Wang Jia. Wang Jia was stunned. Is Li Ju dead? Li Ju, who had been such a bully for years, is dead. How did Han Fei manage to kill him? How did you kill him? Han Fei stretched out and sat up. I used the secret weapon Tang Jie gave me. Wang Jia rolled his eyes. Do you think I'm a fool? If you did have a secret weapon, why is blood all over on the deck? And why do you look so tired? However, Wang Jia was still deeply shocked. No matter how Han Fei made it, he made it, which showed that Han Fei had the strength to kill a peak-leveled fishing master. Everyone knew that Li Ju was only one step from becoming a great fishing master. Have you made a breakthrough? Yes. Wang Jia didn't know what to say. How old is he? A 12-year-old kid who had just gone through the fishing trial was already a fishing master. A few months ago, he was still a level 2 fisher, a weakling that even he could pinch to death. Wang Jia asked, what's your plan next? Han Fei only muttered, ho ho. Han Fei returned to the village with Wang Jia, and the fishing boat was taken away by the village leader as soon as they hit the port. But when the village leader saw Han Fei, he exclaimed, are you already a fishing master? One as the village leader exclaimed, many people looked at Han Fei. What? This kid is already a fishing master. Someone said, isn't this boy Han Fei who was the first place in the fishing trial? It's only been a few days and he's already a fishing master. Some people shouted, I have lived in vain for half my life. I have not yet become a level 7 fisher and he, a kid, is already a fishing master. I am really. Someone patted him on the shoulder. Forget it, buddy. People are different. What kind of spiritual heritage do you have? A level 1, low quality one, right? So what else do you expect? You should be glad that you're still alive. Someone sighed. My son has a level 1, high-quality spiritual heritage, but now he is only a level 6 fisher. What a shame. Shit, your son is already a level 6 fisher. My son has a level 2, low-quality spiritual heritage and is also a level 6 fisher. What? Your son has already reached level 6. Why is my son only level 5? For a moment, they strayed off topic. Everyone was in awe of this genius, so no one mentioned how useless Han Fei used to be again. Zhang Han was standing stunned among the crowd and all the sea melon seeds in his hands were spilled on the ground. He had once blackmailed Han Fei and went to his barbecue stall to make trouble for him. Most importantly, this morning he heard that the leader of the tigers, Li Ju, went after him. Now Han Fei was back. What about Li Ju? A terrible thought suddenly occurred to Zhang Han. Is Li Ju already dead? On the port, Li Gang and Li Qing quickly greeted them. Li Gang greeted him first. Young master, welcome back. I was so worried about you. How could you secretly go to sea? Has Li Ju found you? Forget it, he certainly didn't find you. Young master, don't be so capricious next time. Li Qing's lips moved but he didn't speak. Boss is really lucky to come back alive. Han Fei smiled and patted Li Gang's shoulder. Gang, I have something to tell you. Li Gang hurriedly put his ears close to him. Although he didn't know what happened, he believed Han Fei unconditionally. What? Li Gang looked at Han Fei in shock. He almost peed in panic. Han Fei assured him, don't be so dramatic. Just do it. Li Gang's face suddenly beamed with a smile. Yes, young master. Watching Li Gang stride away triumphantly, Han Fei said to Li Qing, Uncle Qing, let's go to the barbecue stall. We will open the stall today, free of charge. Huh. Before hearing Li Qing's response, Han Fei shouted out loud to the sky, everyone, listen to me, the leader of the tigers, Li Ju, is dead. The most delicious barbecue stall in the world reopens today and all food is free of charge. Then he walked away, leaving the crowd stunned and at a loss. Someone scratched their head in wonder. What did he just say? He seemed to say that Li Ju is dead. Really? Li Ju is a peak-leveled fishing master. How could he have died so easily? I heard that Li Ju went after Han Fei this morning and vowed to kill him. Could Han Fei have beat Li Ju? Yes, I heard it too. Let's go to the barbecue stall and check it out. What if it is true? Someone sneered, if it is true, I'll thank God. Li Ju is such a bully. I'm glad to see him die. Let's go together. Wait for me, I'm coming too. Wang Jia looked at the receding figure of Han Fei and wondered whether what Han Fei said was real. He didn't find that Han Fei had such a side before, but what was this kid going to do? Whatever, I'm going to the barbecue stall anyway. It's great to have a free barbecue. Half an hour later, the most delicious barbecue stall in the world. Li Gang, Little Red, and Li Qing were busy making barbecue. Since Li Qing joined them, the area of the barbecue stall had expanded a bit and a shed was placed above the barbecue stall. Han Fei was standing on the shed at the moment. The street in front of him was packed with people who were all attracted by the news Han Fei had just released. From every corner of the village, people came out and gathered to check out whether the news was real or not. Just now, Li Gang went to tell the members of the Tigers the news of Li Ju's death, but they didn't believe it. Now they were also at the stall, staring warily at Han Fei standing on the roof. Everyone, be quiet. Han Fei took a breath and said, everyone, the floating island is our home, but Li Ju and Li Hu threw their weight over everyone. They cheated, bullied, and killed. Everyone hated them. I, Han Fei, have killed Li Ju's son, Li Hu, on the sea a few months ago. And now, I've also killed Li Ju and sent them to reunite under the ground. Nonsense. Our leader is a peak-leveled fishing master. How could he be killed by you? Han Fei coldly stared at this man. The latter was scared by his eyes and immediately shut up. Han Fei snorted and took out Li Ju's rod, saying, this is Li Ju's rod that can turn into two knives after being split in the middle. It's quite unique, but no matter how unique it is, it can't stop me from killing that bully. What I said is true. If you don't believe it, you can ask Master Wang Jia, an inspector of ordinary fisheries. Wang Jia was also in the crowd. Seeing many people looking at him, he complained in his heart that he was just there to get free barbecue. Why do you suddenly draw everyone's attention to me? What are you going to do? But for the sake that Han Fei was his student, Wang Jia said in a deep voice, when I arrived, Li Ju was already dead. Wow, really? Haha, great, Li Ju, that bastard, finally died. God of Sea, Li Ju is dead, what great news. The crowd was in an uproar. Obviously, everyone was excited at Li Ju's death, especially those who were oppressed by the Tigers. They almost jumped for joy. And the members of the Tigers were all stunned. Leader is dead, damn, then what should they do next? Be quiet. When the crowd calmed down, Han Fei said, as you can see, the Tigers commit all sorts of crimes. Now that Li Ju has died, the Tigers shall no longer exist. Now, I, Han Fei, have an important matter to announce. Huh, what is it? Some people asked curiously. The smile on Han Fei's face disappeared and he said seriously, our village needs a peaceful environment. The Tigers collected protection fees, killed innocent people, and seized their goods. But I, Han Fei, intend to establish a brand new gang, a gang that can protect the villagers and improve the quality of our life. I, Han Fei, am going to found the Fish Dragons. From now on, no one can bully others in our village. Now, the Fish Dragons officially recruits its members. Only level 8 fishers or above can be admitted. Is anyone willing to join? 1. Chapter 92 Yes, Young Master. Chapter 92. Yes, Young Master. Everyone was stunned. What the hell? A 12-year-old kid wanted to found a gang. Among the crowd, Wang Jia was stupefied and felt as if there were 10,000 iron-headed fish fighting in his heart. Did I hear him wrong? Han Fei wants to found a gang. Seriously? Zhang Han was also dumbfounded. Are you kidding me, Han Fei? Do you have any idea how old you are? Even Li Gang and Li Qing were stunned. Is young master alright? Is he crazy? They lowered their head and avoided people's gaze. We'd better just focus on making barbecue. Han Fei glanced around and got no response from the crowd, so he said, everyone, the Fish Dragons have just been established. We'll only recruit 200 members for now. And, from today on, the Fish Dragons will take over all of the Taiga's properties. Even Li Ju was killed by me. I'd like to see if anyone dares to reject me. With that, Han Fei snorted and the members of the Tigers all trembled in fright. Their leader was dead and now they were like lambs to the slaughter. However, someone in the crowd still shouted angrily, how can you just take over our property like this? That's illegal. Han Fei said casually. I remember when the tigers and the Wang family competed for territory, you guys committed many crimes, didn't you? With that, Han Fei pointed to the man who spoke. I announce that any former members of the tigers who didn't commit any crimes and are at least a level 8 fisher can join the fish dragons, and all other members will be expelled. Including the one who spoke just now. Among the crowd, someone suddenly shouted, I want in. I didn't kill or bully anyone. I joined the tigers just to live a good life. Some people immediately chose to join and many more were moved by Han Fei's words because the condition Han Fei offered was too tempting to them. The tigers had so many properties. If the bad guys were expelled, they would be able to have a finger in the pie. Then they wouldn't have to worry about their well-being anymore. I'm in. I'm just an off-staff member of the tigers, but I'm already a level 8 fisher. I'm in too. Me too. A member of the tigers angrily rebuked them. You traitors, do you think you will be better off if Han Fei becomes your leader? Some people retorted, what do you mean by traitors? Li Ju is such a badass. If I were strong enough, I would have killed him earlier. The tigers instantly split into two factions, which Han Fei was glad to see. Han Fei said, all those who are willing to join the fish dragons go register with Li Qing. Li Qing, choose the eligible people in strict accordance with my standards and take down their information. Don't miss anyone, understood? Li Qing moved his lips and in the end, he simply said, yes, young master. At this moment, only some former members of the tigers joined the fish dragons, so Han Fei continued, everyone, please listen to me. I promise I'll lead the fish dragons to prosperity, to the pinnacle of life. Look at the most delicious barbecue stall in the world. With this little stall, I make a fortune. And now, I've decided to open a large hot pot restaurant respectively in the 4 fairs of the Heavenly Water Village. On the day they open, all the food will be sold at half price. What is a hot pot restaurant? No one knew and everyone was curious. Hot pot is an unparalleled delicacy. It is just as delicious as barbecue, or even better. We'll offer you a 50% discount when the restaurants open. The managers of these restaurants will be chosen from the members of the Fish Dragons. You can also apply for jobs in these restaurants. My fellow villagers, please think it over. Opportunity seldom knocks twice. You have already wasted the first half of your life. Why not give it a try to change the second half? Present were all fishermen who only knew fishing. How could they resist Han Fei's temptation? The hot pot was even more delicious and profitable than barbecue. Of course, they wanted to earn easy money. Who wanted to risk his own life and go fishing in the sea every day? The crowd was instantly in an uproar. I want in. Leader, I am a level 9 fisher. Look how strong I am. Go away. Leader, count me in. I am hard-working and kind-hearted. Get out of the way. Me, leader, don't forget me. I am quite talented at cooking. Han Fei waved his hand. Don't rush. If you want to join, sign up with Li Qing. Also, this is only the first time we are recruiting members. Our members must have a good moral quality. As our business expands, we'll need more members. Anyone who is willing to join us will be given a chance. Uncle Qing, I want to sign up. Brother Qing, we knew each other long ago. Sign me up. Master Qing. It was completely out of control. The crowd didn't even have time to take the free barbecue as they swarmed around Li Qing, congesting the street. Even the nearby hawkers stopped doing business and came to sign up. Could their business be as profitable as the barbecue stall? If they could join the hot pot restaurants, they would be able to make a fortune. Li Gang and Little Red were stupefied. Young master, you're our hero. You're our god. Wang Jia finally pushed his way through the crowd to Li Gang and patted him on the shoulder. Pack a portion of barbecue for me please. Still sitting on the shed, Han Fei looked at Wang Jia and said, Mr. Wang, do you want to join us? You can be our elder and I can pay you 10 mid-quality pearls a month. Wang Jia rejected. Ho, I am too busy. The village leader was not surprised when he heard the news, although Han Fei was a little bit beyond his expectations. Not bad, this kid. Although he was the leader of the Heavenly Water Village, he couldn't take care of everything in the village. Although the tigers had been bullying other villagers for years, according to the rules of the floating island, he had no right to stop them, so he could only watch the villagers be bullied by them. Now the tigers had been wiped out and the fish dragons appeared. Many people hoped the latter would not oppress them. If the fish dragons didn't bully them, they didn't mind their existence and would even support it. Han Fei did not return to the plantation that day, but he led more than 200 of his men to harvest the properties of the tigers, which certainly included Li Ju's residence and his treasure house. The treasure house of the tigers. No, of the fish dragons. Han Fei looked at the treasure in this room. There were a lot of knives, swords, and halberds, a trunk of mid-quality pearls, tentacles and shrimp whiskers, and a set of armor forged with fishbone, as well as some low-level combat skills. In addition to these, there were some ores, which no one knew where Li Ju got them from. Han Fei muttered, "So poor. Everyone." After a while, Li Qing came and saluted, "Leader. Just call me young master." Li Qing paused and then said, "Yes, young master. The members of the tigers who committed crimes or refused to surrender have been expelled. And there are 3 fishing young masters of the tigers who want to join us. What do you think? Have they committed any crimes? Or killed any innocent people?" Li Qing assured him, "Only one of them hasn't, the other 2 have." Han Fei instructed, "Expel the 2 and bring that one to see me." "Yes, boss." Li Qing felt very proud and elated now. At one time, he was worried that he would be targeted since he betrayed the tigers. Now the tigers were wiped out, which proved what a wise decision he had made. He had forgotten that he was actually persuaded by Han Fei. After a while, Li Qing led a person in, who was tall and looked a bit simple-minded. Young master." Han Fei blinked. What's your name?" This man was stunned for a moment. "Is the new leader laughing at me? But I can only put up with it now. I'm Li Gan." "Okay, Li Gan. Talk less and do more. Then you won't be tired." Li Gan. Han Fei was curious with this fisher. "Why have you never bullied others or killed innocent people although you're a fishing master of the tigers?" Li Gan stuttered. They thought I would disgrace them when I was out with them." Han Fei felt a bit suffocated. "If I were Li Ju, I wouldn't have taken you out with me either. You haven't finished your words yet even when the fight is already over. Isn't it embarrassing?" Han Fei could only say, "In the future, you will be an important member of the fish dragons. As long as you do not violate the principles of our gang, no one dares to laugh at you." Yes, young master. Chapter 93 Fish Dragon Card Room. Chapter 93 Fish Dragon Card Room. The next day, Han Fei, the new gang leader, went to investigate the fish dragon's properties, followed by more than 100 gang members. At the moment, Han Fei was standing in front of a casino and asked, "Did I smash it before?" Li Gang informed him, "Yes, you did. It hasn't been repaired yet." Han Fei looked back and asked seriously, "Don't you think this casino will affect the image of the Heavenly Water Village?" Everyone. A member immediately came out and said, "Young master, this casino is quite a money-making business. It can make us a lot of money every day. As for the image of the Heavenly Water Village, does the Heavenly Water Village have a certain image to uphold?" Han Fei rolled his eyes at him and asked, "Did anyone go bankrupt because of gambling?" The man smiled embarrassedly, "Well, occasionally." "Then how do we deal with those who can't pay back the gambling debt?" The man waved his fist. No one dared repudiate a debt. They could only work from dawn to night to earn money to pay off debts. Smack. Han Fei slapped the guy's head. "Stupid. Can't you tell I want to abolish this casino?" Someone stood up and said, "Young master, if you abolish casinos, we'd be making a lot less money." "Stupid. Is there only one way to make money? Come in with me." Han Fei sat on the table. "I'd like to create a new way of gambling in the Heavenly Water Village." "Bah, a new way of entertainment in the Heavenly Water Village. Gang, go get me 108 green turtle scales." "Yes, boss." Soon, the scales came, and Han Fei took out a knife and carved something on the scales. Then he said, "Gang, Li Qing, Li Gan, come and sit down here." The 3 of them froze for a while. "Why did young master ask us to sit down?" Han Fei instructed, "Come on, sit down." All the members of the Fish Dragons, come in. Let me show you a new kind of game. The fun is no less than gambling. Everyone came in with a stupefied look and many scratched their heads. This new leader behaves so oddly. But what is the new form of entertainment? Look, here are 108 scales, 54 of which are repetitions. Look, this is a small white shrimp, which stands for 1. This is a prawn, which stands for 2. This is a mantis shrimp, which stands for black joker. This is a big meat turtle, representing a red joker. After half an hour, many people were eager to try. This was really simple and fun. With the 108 cards, 4 people could draw various combinations of cards. Han Fei and the other 3 were playing the cards in high spirits. Li Gang announced, 2 sevens, 2 blade fish, 2 eights, 2 tentacle lobsters, 2 tens, 2 snake belts. Han Fei chimed in, bomb, 4 big yellow fish. Bomb, 5 small white fish. Everyone, Han Fei said proudly, full house, 3 tentacle lobsters and 2 blade fish. I've won. Give me money. Everyone's face turned purple. No, not again. They secretly made up their minds that they must practice their card skills when they were free. This is FC King fun. Although they looked so frustrated when they lost, they just needed to pay 5 C coins, which was almost affordable to anyone. Han Fei put away the money, stood up, and said, okay, have you learned it? More than 100 people all shouted, yes, young master. Quote. Someone said, young master, that's really fun, even more fun than gambling. Someone asked, young master, can I manage this new casino in the future? Smack. Han Fei was annoyed. It's you again. What's your name? Is this a casino? From today on, it's called the Fish Dragon Card Room. The rule is that the amount of money for each match cannot exceed 5 C coins. However, if anyone wants to come to play in the card room, he shall pay 1 low-quality pearl each hour. The young man quickly gave a smile. Young master, my name is Chen Eryu. I've remembered the rules. I'll allow no one to break the rules of the Fish Dragons. Good. Then you'll be in charge of the Fish Dragon Card Room. Tell those who have no money but want to play the game to go home and play by themselves, understood? Chen Eryu nodded. Got it. I'll tell them to go home and FCK themselves if they don't have the money. Smack. Han Fei was helpless. Why do you have to put it that way? Anyway, if anything goes wrong, it's your responsibility. Others were envious. Chen Eryu was really lucky. Leader gave him this fun Fish Dragon Card Room so easily. I should have strived for it. Han Fei said, okay, now I have a question for all of you. Does anyone see a business opportunity from my behavior just now? Someone quickly raised his hand and said, I do. Yes. The man smiled and said, build 100 Fish Dragon Card Rooms and collect money every day. Han Fei sneered, FCK off, who else knows? Another man raised his hand. You, speak. The man hurriedly said, young master, let's start with a low fee, and when they become addicted to it and more people want to play the game, we'll raise the fee. Han Fei pointed at this man. Anyone kick him for me, thanks. Bam. Someone stood up and kicked that man, shouting, bullshit. Young master, I know. If you give me a wrong answer too, I'll have you pressed to the ground and whipped 10 times with a fishing rod. The man's face turned pale, but he still said timidly, young master, let's make a lot of green turtle scale cards and sell them to those in need. Smack. Everyone shrank their necks and thought this guy was beaten too, but it turned out that it was Han Fei who patted his own thigh. Han Fei asked, what's your name? The man shrank his neck. Young master, my name is Li Beixia. Great, you're damn smart. You'll be in charge of making Fish Dragon cards. Pick 10 people from the members to assist you. If it's not enough, you can hire people from outside and pay them a salary. I will teach you the art of printing later. Try to master it as fast as you can. Li Beixia was stunned and then smiled from ear to ear. Yes, young master, I'll try my best. You have my word. Many people cast envious stares at him. Why the heck didn't I think of that? Suddenly Han Fei glanced at the crowd again and asked, so, who saw business opportunities from Li Beixia's idea? Someone immediately shouted, young master, I know. Yes. The man said, recruit a large number of off-staff members to manufacture the cards, and at the same time send dozens of regular members of the fish dragons to inspect the whole Heavenly Water Village. If anyone dares to secretly manufacture the cards, break their legs. Han Fei turned black and shouted, "Press him to the ground and whip him 10 times with a fishing rod." The man was stunned. Am I wrong? This is very logical. After the man was whipped, a thievish-looking guy said, "Young master, I know." Han Fei narrowed his eyes. "Think it over. Otherwise, you will be whipped too." The man scratched his head. "We can open a shop respectively on the 12 streets in the 4 fairs. Then arrange people to explain the rules of fish dragon cards to the people passing by. And we have to tear down the signs of casinos in front of everyone and put up the sign that reads, Fish Dragon Card Room, to arouse everyone's curiosity." Huh. Han Fei's eyes suddenly lit up. "Not bad. Your IQ is almost 180 compared to them. What's your name?" This man's eyes immediately shined. "Li Duoyu." "Good. Li Duoyu, you can pick 12 people from the official members of the Fish Dragons to be the managers of Fish Dragon Cards stores, and recruit some shop assistants from outside and pay them salaries." Yes, I swear I won't let you down, young master." Many people rubbed their heads in regret. The answer was so simple. Why didn't I think of it? Someone asked, "Young master, is there any other business opportunity?" There aren't too many business opportunities. Okay. Let's go to the next shop, the biggest one. I'm going to investigate the location of hot pot restaurants. The hundreds of people immediately followed Han Fei to the next place, all flushing and excited, feeling that their lives had reached a high point. They seemed to see that white, shining mid-quality pearls had fallen into their pockets. As soon as they went out, Han Fei saw an acquaintance. Han Fei scratched his head. "Grandpa Leader, why are you here?" Village Leader replied, "Well, I'm here to see if the new leader of the Fish Dragons has bullied my people in the Heavenly Water Village or not." Chapter 94 Bamboozler Han. Chapter 94 Bamboozler Han. Of course, the village leader didn't come to see if Han Fei had bullied the villagers. He had frequently heard about Han Fei from Wang Jia and Old Zhong and was sure that he wouldn't throw his weight around, but this guy was too flamboyant. "You are only 12 years old. Why do you act as if you are the village leader? Do you have to take 100 people with you when you go out?" The village leader called Han Fei to the side. "Did you really kill Li Ju?" "By a fluke." The village leader was silent for a moment. "Go to my house when you've got time. I think it necessary to retest your spiritual heritage. There may be something wrong with the previous test." Han Fei rolled his eyes. "Is it all right? I can't upgrade my spiritual heritage now, so perhaps there won't be any problem to retest it." Han Fei pretended to be glad. "Really? Great. Grandpa Leader, I also think the spiritual heritage test had something wrong happen. When I was tested and injected spiritual energy into that stone, it suddenly broke." The village leader was surprised. "Why didn't you tell me that earlier?" Han Fei scratched his head. "I didn't know it wasn't normal. I thought I just needed to put my hand on it." The village leader was curious. "Come with me. Let me test you again." "Wait a minute, Grandpa Leader, it's not that urgent. You see, I'm training my staff now. The tigers have just disintegrated and the fish dragons have just emerged. There are a lot of things for me to deal with." "Ha!" The head of the village leader's face turned black. "What do you mean there are a lot of things for you to deal with? You're just a gang leader. Are you so busy? Do you think you're the village leader?" The village leader calmly said, "Then come to my house as soon as possible. I will wait for you at home." "Okay, I will." After seeing off the village leader, Han Fei led the more than 100 members to inspect the stores in the East Fair. He picked the largest store in the fair that was as large as nearly 500 square meters. "Hey gang, we'll rent this store." Li Gang questioned. "Ah, young master, the rent for this store is quite a lot. It will charge this number a month." Han Fei looked at the one finger Li Gang raised, asking, 100 mid-quality pearls. 10. Han Fei was helpless. "Don't make a fuss. I thought it charged 100. Just rent it." Li Gang nodded, thinking to himself, "Young master, do you know how hard it is to make money? But then he remembered that he could earn 10 mid-quality pearls a day from the barbecue stall, so 100 pearls didn't really seem like a lot. Han Fei instructed, "Get me a piece of paper." Soon, Han Fei quickly drew a floor plan on the paper and handed it to Li Gang. "I'll give you 3 days to sort out this store. By the way, let Li Qing take care of the barbecue stall." Li Gang's face suddenly changed and he whined, "Young master, no. Did I do anything wrong? Young master, the barbecue stall is my life." Smack. Han Fei gently slapped his head. "Your life is here. Do you know that this hot pot restaurant will be 10 times more profitable than the barbecue stall?" "Ah, that's impossible." Li Gang rubbed his hands. 10 times more. How much money is that? That's simply unimaginable. Someone immediately shouted, "I'll do it if you don't." "Young master, pick me." Li Gang quickly turned around and sullenly scolded, "Go away. I am a founding member of the Fish Dragons. Who the heck are you?" Han Fei turned to Li Gan. "Li Gan, you will have to keep an eye on the card room and hot pot restaurants in case anyone makes trouble. You and A Gang can get 5% of the profits." "Okay, I promise, I'll. Han Fei cupped his head in his hands. Okay, stop talking. I know you'll complete the task. ... In the evening. ... Han Fei came with barbecue and liquor, only to see old Zhang wandering around the vinegar vat. "Grandpa, I'm back." Without looking back at him, old Zhang just grunted. "This vinegar smells better and better now. Make me drunk shrimp tonight. I'd like to drink some liquor." Han Fei agreed. "No problem. Where is Sister Qin?" "She hasn't come back yet." Han Fei blinked. "Grandpa, let me make you a hard dish tonight." The old man turned his head. "A hard dish? How hard is it? My teeth are not so good. I want a softer one." Han Fei. In the evening, when Zhang Qin came back from work, she smelled an exotic fragrance, which was very appetizing. She knew Han Fei was back. When Zhang Qin came in, she found that 5 dishes were already on the table, and there was one more dish in the pot. Old Zhang was sneakily putting drunk shrimps into his mouth like a thief. Zhang Qin was helpless. "Grandpa, have you washed your hands?" "My hands are clean, look." Old Zhang grabbed a ball of water from the void and washed his hands with it. Seeing this scene, Han Fei was really envious. "This trick is amazing. I must work out a way to make old Zhang teach me it." Old Zhang looked around. "Brat, is your hard dish ready?" Zhang Qin hadn't heard of such a thing before. Hard dish. Old Zhang was suspicious. "I don't know. He said it was hard." Han Fei came carrying something. "Here you are." Han Fei first brought a brazier shelf over and then put the pot on it. "Who is going to lift the lid?" Old Zhang directly lifted the lid without delay. When the lid was lifted, old Zhang was fascinated. This must taste terrific. The smell alone was so attractive. It smelled different from barbecue but no worse than the barbecue at all. Zhang Qin swallowed. "Is this a fish?" Han Fei said with a smile. "Accurately, it is a big yellow croaker hot pot." "Hot pot." Old Zhang pointed to the brazier shelf. "Just put a pot on the brazier." "Yes, that's right." It was served together with a fire and a pot. Old Zhang asked, "This dish is not hard. Can you introduce it?" Cough. "Okay. In this hot pot, I added 7 kinds of spiritual fruit seasonings, 12 kinds of spiritual fruit ingredients, and stewed it for half an hour." Han Fei introduced other dishes by the way. "These are side dishes. There are hot and sour potato shreds." Old man retorted, "This is a yellow ball. Potato sounds much better than yellow ball. Let me finish." Old Zhang closed his mouth. "This is dragon beard cucumber." Old man mocked him. "This is long green melon." Han Fei was helpless. "I know, but cucumber sounds nicer. Can you stop interrupting me?" Zhang Qin rubbed her face. "Can't you just let me taste the dishes?" Han Fei continued, "This is drunk shrimp. You have eaten it. This is sweet and sour sweet peppers and peanuts. It's a dish that goes with wine. This dish is even more amazing, fried shrimp balls. Peel fresh shrimp, remove their guts, cover them with a layer of mashed beans, and then pan fry them in oil. It's golden looking, crispy, juicy, and fragrant. Okay, we can eat them now." The mouths of old Zhang and Zhongqin were almost watering as they listened to Han Fei's introduction. Oh, the dishes sound really delicious. We want to taste them now. The three of them immediately picked their chopsticks and poked them at the big yellow croaker in the hot pot. The eyes of old Zhang and Zhongqin lit up as they took the first bite. Old Zhang said with a mouthful, "It has the fragrance of evergreen mushroom and the smoothness of sweet grass. As well as the sweetness of seven-leaf flower, yummy, yummy." Zhongqin put a fried shrimp ball into her mouth. The crispy, juicy ball burst in her mouth, which made her want to fly. This night, old Zhang drank half the jar of liquor and almost ate all the dishes. With plenty of food and drink, Han Fei whispered to old Zhang, "Grandpa. What? You have been in the Heavenly Water Village for so long. Have you ever thought of making a little contribution to the villagers?" "What can I contribute? They have hands and feet. No one stops them from fishing." "I don't mean that. Fishing is only for making a living, but with delicious food, we can have more pursuit, more enjoyment, more leisure, and more fun. The ordinary fishermen work from dawn to night and do fishing day after day, which is really boring. Don't you think so?" "Sounds reasonable, but what's it to do with me?" Han Fei smiled slyly. "Grandpa, the spiritual fruits in our plantation are too much to eat and most of them end up rotting in the soil. What a waste. So why don't you contribute them to the villagers? Then they'll be aware that you have a heart of gold." Zhongqin felt unable to hear it anymore. God knows where Han Fei learned these bamboozling words. She could guess the result. It seemed that the plantation was going to change hands quickly. Zhongqin shook her head. "Why did you let this guy in? Look, it has only been a few days and your plantation has become his." Chapter 95 Everyone Loves the Fish Dragons. Chapter 95. Everyone Loves the Fish Dragons. The fish dragons had replaced the tigers overnight, which was marvelously quick. The next day, in front of the 13 casinos of the former tigers, the members of the fish dragons removed its sign under the public eye. A member shouted, "Dear fellow villagers, just a moment." When a group of people gathered in front of the casino, Chen Eryu held a piece of paper in his hand and recited, "The fish dragons have just been established. As we have been despising the evil deeds of the tigers, now we've decided to ban all casinos and resolutely resist gambling." "Wow," someone exclaimed, "really? Are you guys going to give up such a profitable business?" Some people didn't believe it. "Is it because you've worked out a more profitable business?" Chen Eryu continued, "Please let me finish. Our current leader Han Fei is very young and talented. He is not that kind of wicked and evil guy. He understands that people need entertainment, so he spent a year to invent fish dragon cards for all of you. Although the casinos are banned, you can still have healthier entertainment." "Fish dragon cards, what are those? Do you charge for this? Is it a gambling game?" Chen Eryu cleared his throat and said, "Fish dragon cards are a must-have game. It's cheap but fun, and you can play it at home, with your family, or with your friends. It's dozens of times more fun than gambling. Our leader said that it's definitely not a gambling game, but everyone can have much more fun than gambling from it." Someone shouted, "What do the cards look like? We want to have a look." Someone echoed, "Yes, although you've talked up this game, we don't know how to play it. You've gotta tell us how to play it." "Yeah, hurry up, or else we're leaving. You'll still charge for it, right?" Chen Eryu said, "Bro, will it cost you money to buy a big yellow croaker?" "Who can tell me how much a big yellow croaker is?" Someone immediately replied, "Big yellow croakers are cheap. I can buy 2 or 3 with a low-quality pearl." Chen Eryu said with a smile, "Okay." This chum said that he could buy 2 or 3 big yellow croakers with a low-quality pearl. "Then I tell you that with the same low-quality pearl, you'll be able to buy 2 sets of fish dragon cards. And you don't have to pay any more." Surprised. "Glad to hear that. Really? How is it possible? How can there be such a cheap game? Go on bragging. Then how do you make money?" Chen Eryu smiled kindly. "My dear fellows, you don't have to worry about how we make money. Anyway, we won't earn your hard-earned money. Come here, there are some tables here. You can sit down first. Let me show you how to play fish dragon cards." Half an hour later, a strange scene appeared in the Heavenly Water Village. In the east, west, south, and North Fairs, 13 groups of people gathered. These people were in a group of 4, sitting opposite one another, chattering away. 3 plus 2, 3 large yellow croakers and 2 small white fish. Bomb, 4 small white fish. Haha, mine is bigger than yours. 4 big yellow croakers. Humph, 4 tentacle lobsters. The other 3. Such sounds rose one after another and were almost ceaseless. Next to them, a lot of people were lining up. Ah, I want 10 sets of fish dragon cards. I was here first. I want 4 sets of fish dragon cards. I want 6 sets. The members of the fish dragons were crazy busy. They thought that 200 people were enough to cope with this situation, but who could have thought that the products would sell so hot? One member shouted, "Please be quiet, because the number of fish dragon cards is limited, each person can only buy 2 sets. Please purchase now, we don't have many left." Only at this time, the members understood why leader said that the cards had to be printed, not hand-painted, and made a printing template. Look how popular the goods were. They sold out in less than an hour. 10 minutes later, dozens of fish dragon card rooms announced, "Everyone, our inventory has been sold out. Please come back tomorrow." Someone failed to buy one and grumbled, "What's the big deal? Anyway, it's made with green turtle scales. I'll make them myself." However, a member of the fish dragons immediately said, "Anyone who fails to get one can make it yourself. It doesn't matter. The fish dragons will not force you to buy our fish dragon cards. Our principles are fairness, justice, and serving the people wholeheartedly." But some people sneered immediately. "Only idiots will make them themselves. These cards look simple, but who can draw this little white fish or blade fish so vividly? I will come back in line tomorrow. Yes, I can't draw these pictures." Many people who originally planned to make one themselves immediately dismissed this idea. And the person who spoke first thought to himself, it's really easy to be an influencer." On that day, according to incomplete statistics, 2,102 copies of fish dragon cards were sold. Many people followed the trend to buy them before they even figured out what it was. And when they bought them and learned the rules of the game, they were overjoyed. "I was so smart to buy one." The first official meeting of the fish dragons. Li Gang said unhappily, "Although we've sold so much, we earned less than selling barbecue. We sold a lot but the price is too low." Chen Eryu assured him, "Brother Gang, although we didn't earn much from fish dragon cards, do you know how much our card rooms made today?" "How much?" Chen Eryu made a gesture. "At least 8,000 low-quality pearls." Li Gang's eyes widened. If the money earned from selling fish dragon cards were added, they earned 100 low-quality pearls in one day. Li Qing was surprised. The barbecue stall has earned 36 mid-quality pearls today. Young Master said that hot pot restaurants were more profitable than these two. If this is true, then how much can a hot pot restaurant earn? Heavenly Water Village, Wang family. The patriarch of the Wang family looked at the pile of green turtle scales in his hand and said, "Are these fish dragon cards?" The second young master of the Wang family said, "Patriarch, that's right. They are really fun." Smack. "All you know is to play. Look at your third brother. Now he is already in the town. In the future, he must be the best armorist of the Wang family. But look at yourself, what else do you know besides playing?" "But it's really fun, Patriarch." A moment later, after playing a few rounds of fish dragon cards, the patriarch of the Wang family couldn't help but say, "It's interesting. How did Han Fei come up with such a game?" Second young master replied, "Patriarch, let's manufacture it. I heard that the fish dragons are not against others copying it, saying that they will not take this business as their own." Smack. The patriarch of the Wang family sclded angrily, "You idiot. All you know is to copy others. Do you know the fish dragons did that purposely?" "Ah, why?" The patriarch of the Wang family narrowed his eyes. "Don't forget what the name of this game is, fish dragon cards. In 2 days, this name will be known to every villager in the Heavenly Water Village. If we copy it, what name shall we use? If we don't use this name, people won't buy it. But if we use it, people will think our Wang family has been annexed by the fish dragons." The second young master said angrily, "What a vicious guy. Patriarch, Let's find a chance to kill him. This brat is even more difficult to deal with than Li Ju. Shut up. What makes you think you can kill him? And how can our Wang family bully a child? Then what will the villagers of the Heavenly Water Village think of us? The patriarch of the Wang family murmured, Han Fei, you're really something. But why do you stick to a small place like the Heavenly Water Village? Even if you outshine the Wang family in the Heavenly Water Village, so what? This is a world valuing strength. In 2 or 3 days, the fish dragons had become a hot topic among the villagers of the Heavenly Water Village. Someone exclaimed, have you heard? The fish dragons subsidized over 500 out-of-school children. That's really nice of them. Someone nodded. Yes, the fish dragons don't bully people at all and they pay money when they buy something. Some people wondered, aren't they supposed to pay money for things? The former one sneered, the tigers never paid before. Some people echoed, indeed, they're much better than the tigers. I heard that the fish dragons are planning to build hot pot restaurants recently. It is said that hot pot is even more delicious than barbecue. Let's go taste it when the restaurants open. Sure, count me in. Let's go together. Chapter 96 Classification of Fisheries. Chapter 96 Classification of Fisheries. The village leader lived in the center of the Heavenly Water Village, which was the closest place to the statue of Sea God, so it was easier for the villagers to find him. Carrying a bottle of liquor, Han Fei came for his appointment, only to find the village leader looking worried. Grandpa Leader, here I am. What did you want to see me about? Han Fei questioned. The village leader forced a smile and said, Hi, Han Fei. Oh, you brought me a gift. Thank you. Come on in. The village leader's home was plainly decorated and a bit like Han Fei's own hut. It was said that the village leader's family died in a fishery and after that, this old man had been living alone. Han Fei put the liquor bottle on the ground and said, Grandpa Leader, are you in trouble? The village leader was surprised. How did you know? Well, I can tell from your look. Do you need my help? We, the fish dragons, are always ready to help others. The village leader was speechless. Ready to help others. The fish dragons had almost become a chamber of commerce. Ready to earn money from others was more correct. Han Fei, I had thought you would go to the town so that you could avoid not only the tigers but also any other troubles. But I didn't expect that Li Ju would die by your hands. This was really beyond my expectations. Han Fei replied simply, I used a secret weapon Tang Jie gave me. Ho ho, the village leader just smiled. How could such a little boy tell a lie without batting an eyelid? Okay, now let's test your spiritual heritage. If what you said is true, the last test must have been wrong. Han Fei agreed, okay. The village leader took out a stone and solemnly said to Han Fei, put your hand on it and inject spiritual energy into it. Han Fei did what he said. In fact, he agreed to retest his spiritual heritage because he wanted to figure out what that flashing black light he saw last time was. As he injected spiritual energy into the stone, a brilliant yellow color burst out in no time. The village leader took a deep breath. It was wrong last time. You've got a level 3, mid-quality spiritual heritage, almost high quality. Han Fei wasn't excited at all though. Ignoring the excited babbling of the village leader, he stared closely at the stone. At the last moment, he saw a flash of black light again. It flashed across so quickly it was almost undetectable. Sure enough, there must also be black in the spiritual heritage test, but I don't know what level black represents. The village leader said excitedly, Han Fei, aren't you excited? Haha, that's great. I found one more great talent for our village. I think you can be a great fishing master in the future, or even a dangling fisher. Seeing that Han Fei was so calm, the village leader was surprised. Aren't you excited? Han Fei scratched his head. Actually, when I broke through to be a fishing master, I already had a hunch that my spiritual heritage should be higher than my testing result, so I'm not surprised. But Han Fei did ask, Leader, can you keep this secret for me? The village leader asked, keep it a secret. Why? You know, I am a low-key person. I don't want so many people to know this. Names are debts. I think it's more fun to let others think that I only have a level 1, high-quality spiritual heritage. The village leader, Names are debts. Although a level 3, mid-quality spiritual heritage was not bad, it wasn't that good. You should go to the town to have a look. The village leader explained, this is wrong. For example, before if you wanted to go to the town, you might have needed my recommendation, but now, you can directly go to the town. But although you have a level 3, mid-quality spiritual heritage, you're still too ordinary in the town. The heavenly talents in the town mostly have level 4 spiritual heritages, the most excellent ones have level 4, high-quality ones or even level 5 ones. I haven't been to the town yet, Han Fei exclaimed. The village leader solemnly said, sooner or later. Han Fei quickly diverted the topic. Leader, I know that yellow light erupts for spiritual heritages below level 4, blue light for level 4 to 6, and purple for level 7 and above. Is there any color superior to purple? What color is it? The village leader thought for a moment. Why do you ask this? I'm curious. I wonder if anyone in the city has a spiritual heritage even superior to purple ones. The village leader shook his head. It is said that there are some, but I haven't seen any yet. That kind of monster is rarely seen even in 100 years. Don't think too much about it. Han Fei frowned slightly. Really? Is black superior to purple? At this time, the village leader said, Han Fei, are you really not going to the town? If you want to go now, I can still work out a way to send you there. Han Fei shook his head. No, I'm not ready yet. What he said was true. The village was very close to the sea, and every time he went to sea, he always gained something by accident. He didn't want to leave here so quickly. Besides, it was simply an insult to him that he would have to be an auditor for 3 years before he was admitted to the town's school. Only when he was confident that no one in the town could beat him would he go to the town. The village leader pondered for a while. Since you don't want to go, then I won't force you. But since you don't go to the town, as a fishing master, you can't just fool around with the fish dragons and the plantation, put aside your proper business. Han Fei, do you know why the fishing masters in our village are so few? Why is it so rare to see fishing masters in the streets and even the port? Han Fei asked, isn't it because there are only few fishing masters? Few. Haha. There are nearly 500 graduates from the 4 schools of our village who can become fishing masters every year. In fact, the number of fishing masters in our village increases by about 100 every year. Where have these people gone? Have you even thought about this? Han Fei was surprised. So many. Did they go to a level 1 fishery? The village leader nodded. Do you know what a level 1 fishery is? Han Fei scratched his head. Isn't it a good place for fishing masters to fish? Ordinary fishermen can't handle the demonic fishes there and great fishing masters don't wish to go there. So only fishing masters will go there. The village leader shook his head. Wrong. Before explaining this matter, I think it necessary to tell you about the classification of fisheries. Han Fei was instantly interested. He knew nothing about level 1, 2, or 3 fisheries. Although there were many chances in ordinary fisheries, there wouldn't be as many as in higher-leveled fisheries. The Heavenly Water Village is under the Blue Sea town. It is said that during ancient times, a blue sea wandering dragon fell in the town, so the town was named Blue Sea. Including the Heavenly Water Village, the Beehive town governs 8 floating islands that are respectively named Water, Wood, Rain, Wind, Moon, Sun, Fire, and Heart. Among them, the Heavenly Heart Village is the closest to the Blue Sea town and is the strongest, followed by the Heavenly Moon Village and Heavenly Sun Village, and then Heavenly Wind Village and Heavenly Fire Village. The Heavenly Water Village, Heavenly Wood Village, and Heavenly Rain Village are the weakest. The 8 villages share one level 1 fishery extending for 3,000 miles. Han Fei exclaimed, even our village's ordinary fisheries extend 1,000 miles and they're also exclusive to our village. Why does the shared level 1 fishery only extend for 3,000 miles? The village leader sighed. Do you know what kind of fishery is the most prevalent in the hundreds of thousands of miles of sea areas around us? Han Fei shook his head. Ordinary ones. Not all sea areas are dangerous. Legend has it that a peerless hero found ordinary fisheries suitable for living, so he wielded his power to drag floating islands over and placed them around these fisheries, so there are the Heavenly Water Village, Blue Sea Town, and even Thousand Star City. Han Fei secretly took a breath, feeling a little incredulous. What the hell? Someone dragged the floating islands over and placed them here. Only God could do that. The village leader continued. In fact, an ordinary fishery doesn't extend for 1,000 miles. This is just an estimate. Some people have measured it and found it was actually 800 miles or so. 800 miles away, there will be demonic fishes that only appear in level 1 fisheries, although they're extremely rare. And ordinary and level 1 fisheries are not geographically contiguous. There is a middle area between the two, which is called the mixed zone. It's like a buffer zone, in which there are both fishes of ordinary fisheries and level 1 fisheries. Then if the fishing masters of our heavenly water village want to go to the level 1 fishery, they will have to fly thousands of miles or even 2,000 miles. The village leader nodded. Yes, the 8 villages surrounding the level 1 fishery. Some people speculated that this was actually a trial field created by the creator of the floating islands. Chapter 97 Power of Demonic Fishes. Chapter 97 Power of Demonic Fishes. Han Fei thought to himself, if the first level fishery was surrounded by the 8 villages, where was the second level fishery? The village leader seemed to know Han Fei's thoughts as he said, the level 2 fishery is further away, 2,000 miles away from the 8 villages. Han Fei was surprised. So, it is not that we have surrounded the level 1 fishery, but that the level 1 fishery and the level 2 fishery have surrounded us. The village leader nodded with a smile. Exactly. Then what about the level 3 fishery? The village leader glanced at Han Fei. Do you know why the fisheries other than those fisheries we mentioned above is called the place unknown? Han Fei shook his head. The level 3 fishery has surpassed the range that the villages can explore. A great fishing master in the level 3 fishery is just like a fisherman in the mixed zone, and there is a good chance that he'll die there. So the level 3 fishery is not around the villages but lies in a remote area and can only be reached through the teleportation circle in the town. Han Fei nodded and continued to ask, what about the place unknown? As you become stronger, you will know more about it. Even I don't know much about it. Well, I think you've understood the classification of level 1, 2, and 3 fisheries. Now let's talk about the level 1 fishery. Then he took a meaningful look at Han Fei. Do you know what the significance of the fishing trial is? The parents of those children knew that their children may die. Why did they still make them participate in it? Why do parents cry over their child's death but do not regret it? Han Fei tried to guess. Is it for the level 1 fishery? The village leader nodded. Yes, the level 1 fishery is far more dangerous than the fishing trial. When you get there, you may meet people who you don't know. You don't even know who will suddenly pop up, trap you, or even kill you. So what is most dangerous is not the fish, but people. Han Fei took a deep breath. He could imagine how fierce the competition was as the 8 villages had to share one single fishery. Now he finally understood why people allied but then fought each other in the fishing trial. If a village couldn't form an alliance within itself, internal strife tended to occur. Then even if the village got a treasure, the villagers would fight each other for who would keep it. Han Fei suddenly remembered something and said to the village leader, the power of demonic fishes. Tang Jie once told me that the power of demonic fish could be absorbed by us. The village leader glanced at Han Fei with appreciation. Yes, he was right. It is said that even a common fisherman can absorb the power of demonic fish. Can we directly absorb the power from demonic fishes from the level 1 fishery? Ha, it's not that simple. The village leader seemed to be glad to see him so ignorant. Han Fei, the village leader explained, I think you've once witnessed the so-called power of demonic fish. At least a lot of members of the fish dragons have it, so did Li Ju, but we call those demonic fishes contractual spiritual beasts. Han Fei looked at the village leader in amazement. How could it be? If they are contractual spiritual beasts, why did I only see Li Ju and Li Gang have them? No other people seem to have them. The village leader's face turned solemn. So, this is why all villages have to enter the level 1 fishery. The failure rate of ordinary fishermen or fishing masters to sign contracts with common demonic fishes of the first level fishery is too high, mainly because those ordinary demonic fishes are too low-leveled and have no spirituality. So those who fail can only get some strength from the demonic fish but cannot make a contract with them. But as you remember, Li Ju's tiger head fish was quite spiritual, right? It's of a rare species, which is essentially different from ordinary fishes. Han Fei was curious. So, are there a lot of rare demonic fishes in the level 1 fishery? The village leader shook his head again. No, only a small amount of rare demonic fishes are those mutated from ordinary demonic fishes. The level 1 fishery is only this big, but so many people rush in to catch demonic fishes, so it is not uncommon for people to kill and steal. Sometimes, when someone of a village acquires a rare demonic fish, the other villages will even besiege this village together. What for? The village leader smiled bitterly. For restricting the development of other villages. Once a village has a genius, the benefits he will bring to that village are unexpected. What's the benefit? Is Tang Jie considered a genius? The village leader nodded. Sure. Did you know that when Tang Jie was taken away by the angel it caused a sensation in the town and other villages? That makes sense. Perhaps even in the town, there hadn't been a person with a level 7 spiritual heritage before. The village leader sighed. Yes, but it is both a blessing and a curse. Since Tang Jie had been taken away by the angel, our Heavenly Water Village should move to where the Heavenly Heart Village is and replace it. Han Fei was stunned. Excuse me, Grandpa Leader, wait a minute, can the floating islands move? The village leader smiled. Yes, this is because of the formation left by the ancient peerless hero, which was to intensify the competition among the villages and cultivate stronger people. Forget it. Why do I nag on so much? Sorry, people talk more as they get older. I tell you this because every fishing master in the villages has a task. Han Fei asked seriously, what task? The village leader said solemnly, scramble for rare demonic fishes. As you know, all schools in our village give students free spirit-swallowing fish soup, which is also for fulfilling a task. Every village has an unwritten rule that every fishing master should go to the level 1 fishery as much as they can and catch spirit-swallowing fish as much as they can. In theory, every fishing master shall catch 500 pounds of spirit-swallowing fish a month. Han Fei blinked. Then you have been a fishing master for 3 days, right? You still have 27 days to catch 500 pounds of spirit-swallowing fish. Of course, if you can contract a spiritual beast, you don't have to catch fish. By the way, absorbing the power of demonic fish is not counted because the power of the demon fish is no match for that of a contractual spiritual fish. Han Fei almost fainted. Shit, I had thought my day had come and was thinking about how to expand the fish dragons. It turns out that I'll have to go to the level 1 fishery to grab resources. If I happen to meet 2 peak-leveled fishing masters at the same time there, I'll be dead meat. The village leader smiled. Han Fei, you are still young. Don't envy the fishing masters who can stay in the village. They have already paid a heavy price. Even Li Ju had killed more than 10 fishing masters from other villages and interrupted the spiritual beast signing contracting process of the people of the other villages twice. Han Fei felt as if there were 10,000 iron-head fish galloping in his heart. No, I am still a child. With that said, the village leader handed him a book. Take it. This is the mantra for contracting a spiritual beast. Learn it by heart as soon as possible. Don't waste your time on trivial matters such as the fish dragons. Han Fei rolled his eyes. I've just become a gang leader. And I haven't established a glorious image in the villagers' heart yet. Why do I have to go back to cultivate again? He returned to the plantation. Zhang Qin happened to be in the plantation today. Han Fei laughed. Sister Qin, don't you go to work today? I took the day off. Okay, Sister Qin, can I ask if you have a contractual spiritual beast? Zhang Qin responded by asking him, why do you ask me this? Are you going to the level 1 fishery? Han Fei scratched his head. The village leader came to me today and asked me to catch 500 pounds of spirit-swallowing fish every month. He also wanted me to scramble for demonic fishes with the others. But I'm so young, I don't think I'll have any chance to win over others. I might as well catch spirit-swallowing fish. Ho ho, Zhang Qin sneered. You don't think you'll have a chance? Then how can you explain Li Ju's death? How do you have the cheek to play weak? As Zhang Qin turned her eyeballs, with a flash, a blue lobster appeared in front of her. Attach. Han Fei was startled as Zhang Qin suddenly threw a punch at him. Sister Qin. Clang. Han Fei held up his rod to block her fist but was still sent flying through the air. Han Fei crawled out of the vegetable garden with tears. Sister Qin, why did you suddenly beat me? I just showed you the power of a contractual spiritual beast. I only used the power of a junior fishing master. How do you feel? Han Fei was shocked. Only the power of a junior fishing master. But why was the attack power so strong? Han Fei immediately said, no, Sister Qin, I've fought Li Ju. Even if he had had his tiger head fish attached to him, he had not exceeded the limit of a fishing master, nor had the strength of a great fishing master. But when your contractual spiritual beast attached to you, your strength seemed to rise by 2 levels. Zhang Qin nodded. Accurately speaking, my strength climbed from that of a junior fishing master to an intermediate one, but still a step away from that of an advanced fishing master after Little Blue attached to me. Li Ju wasn't this strong because the tiger head fish he got was a mother and son pair. He gave the son to his son Li Hu. After the death of his son's fish, the strength of the mother fish was greatly reduced. You are lucky. Han Fei broke out in a cold sweat. So, if I hadn't killed Li Hu, I might not have been able to beat Li Ju. Gosh, this world is dangerous. Chapter 98 Main Function of Demon Purification Pot. Chapter 98. Main Function of Demon Purification Pot. That night, Han Fei summoned his men over. I will cultivate in seclusion this month. Now I'll give you the method for making hot pot. If you are successful, you can popularize it. I'll have to prepare for a trip to the level 1 fishery. Upon hearing mention of the level 1 fishery, Li Gang and the others looked scared. Li Gang asked, so soon? Young master, don't believe anyone. Han Fei doubted how Li Gan could survive, but since he could stay in the Heavenly Water Village, he must have done a lot of things in the level 1 fishery. He was certainly not as silly as he looked. The next day, Han Fei asked for leave from old Zhang, went to the cultivation hall of the fish dragons, and started to cultivate in seclusion. Old Zhang mocked that he had never heard of a little brat like him cultivate in seclusion. That it was funny. Old Zhang didn't know how many secrets Han Fei had. If he did, he wouldn't say. This was the first time Han Fei started to practice indestructible body arts since he returned. After all, the cultivation of the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing was something that would take a long time to do, and the effect was definitely not as fast as the indestructible body. In front of Han Fei, there were 20 bottles of iron fish body polishing fluid and more than 100 mantis shrimp beads. At this moment, Han Fei seemed to be steamed, his teeth clenched tightly, and sweat on his head kept flowing down. Shit, this indestructible body is too FC King cool. It will actually burn the skin of my whole body with spiritual energy from the inside out, one layer after another, repeated 5 times. Han Fei was shocked. The human skin was divided into 5 layers, namely the stratum corneum, the transparent layer, the granular layer, the spinous cell layer, and the basal layer. What the indestructible body aimed to do was to strengthen the 5 layers of skin to be bulletproof. Thus, the skin had to be burnt countless times. Fortunately, Han Fei discovered the benefits of mantis shrimp beads, which helped ease his pain. 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, 10 days. Han Fei didn't know how many times he repeatedly burnt his skin with spiritual energy. When he cut his skin with a blade fish dagger, his skin wasn't cut at all. He seemed to have achieved some progress. The next step was to temper his skin with spiritual energy. Of course, Ren Tianfei didn't have any spiritual energy at that time. The method he used was boxing, but his boxing method was not recorded, and he thought that, unlike him, the person who inherited his art should have spiritual energy, so there were actually 2 ways to practice this step. Ren Tianfei's method was more difficult while the one Han Fei adopted needed a lot of spiritual energy. But Ren Tianfei would never expect that Han Fei's spiritual energy storage would have no upper limit. When Han Fei consumed 10,000 points of spiritual energy, he had basically acquired the indestructible body art, and this step only took him half an hour. If it were someone else, they would have to spend at least 2 months to collect 10,000 points of spiritual energy and cultivate, provided they could use all the stored spiritual energy on skin tempering. But it took time to accumulate spiritual energy. So Han Fei reckoned that if it were someone else, it would take them over 3 months at least, but he only needed half an hour. Oh, it's so FC King difficult. This is just skin tempering. What will I still have to suffer to temper my flesh? Han Fei shivered as he remembered how painful it felt while tempering his skin. Han Fei stabbed himself with an ordinary blade fish dagger only to hear a click, and the dagger was broken. Wow, that's awesome. Han Fei was dumbfounded. The indestructible body is so powerful. A blade fish dagger that can cut anything in ordinary fisheries was broken when it cut his body. In addition to a little pain, he felt nothing except for leaving a shallow white mark on his skin that could be easily rubbed away. Han Fei took out a mortal-level dagger made with the demon purification pot and gently poked his skin with it. His skin remained intact. Han Fei thought to himself, am I not exerting enough strength? So he used almost half of his strength this time. This time, Han Fei saw an obvious white mark on his skin, but it still didn't bleed. Okay, this time let me use 70% of my strength. Ouch! Looking at the blood mark appearing on his arm, Han Fei realized that his skin was not truly bulletproof. After all, it was a mortal-level dagger made with the calabash. However, it suddenly occurred to Han Fei that he would be able to block 70% of the attack force from an enemy of the same level as him even if he was hit, but the weapon the other party used should be at least of mortal level, high quality. If it was just a blade fish dagger or something similar, it might be broken directly. Haha, great. I've only made small progress in practicing the indestructible body. What if I completely master it? The point is that I can practice it all the way down. I can practice it when I become a great fishing master, so can I when I become a dangling fisher. Han Fei had realized the power of the art. An art that required 100 million points of spiritual energy to deduce certainly couldn't be simple. In the last 10 days, Han Fei used 7 bottles of iron fish body polishing fluid, 49 mantis shrimp beads, and more than 16,000 points of spiritual energy. This was a great consumption. If it was converted into mid-quality pearls, there must be hundreds of them. Well, it's impossible to master this art to the fullest extent in such a short period of time. I might as well practice the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing to increase the strength of my entire body. After another 7 days, Han Fei found that his upper limit of spiritual energy was stuck at 599 points. He looked at the data. Less than owner greater than, Han Fei. Less than level greater than, 13, junior fishing master. Less than spiritual energy greater than, 140,006, 599. Less than spiritual heritage greater than, level 3, mid-quality upgradable. Less than spiritual beast greater than, twin yin-yang spirit swallowing fish. Less than weapon greater than, purple bamboo rod. Less than main art greater than, void fishing, chapter 1, hook kiss mortal level, divine quality. The upgradable button for his spiritual heritage remained gray, but his upper limit of spiritual energy seemed to be less. Han Fei felt that his upper limit of spiritual energy increased quickly when he was still a fisher, but now it was increasing more and more slowly. It would only rise by a dozen points or so each level he upgraded. No, there must be a way to continue to increase my upper limit. Since both my spiritual heritage and level have been upgraded, my upper limit of spiritual energy should also be increased. Han Fei did not dwell on this problem. After all, in terms of the upper limit of spiritual energy, even a peak-level fishing master was no match for him now. Han Fei calculated the time he had spent. It took him 17 days to practice the indestructible body and the incomplete monograph on 108 ways of body polishing, plus 3 days he spent before, so now he only had less than 10 days. Han Fei took out the method given to him by the village leader on how to contract a spiritual beast. Do I have to recite these words? Yes, it was not difficult to contract a spiritual beast. You just needed to recite some words, or to be precise, a mantra. I swear with my essence and blood, spiritual energy, and see God, and hereby brand the contract in my mind. Han Fei frowned. This contracting method seemed a bit strange. Why should the contract be branded in my mind? But then he thought this was just a ceremony, and he didn't have to worry too much. So Han Fei started to recite the mantra, thinking this would only take him 1 hour at most. However, when Han Fei was reciting it, the blood welled up inside him and he couldn't mobilize his essence and blood, and the oath could not be branded into his mind at all. After trying for 5 or 6 times, Han Fei failed. Was this that difficult to recite? If it was, why should I go to a level 1 fishery as soon as I became a fishing master? Subconsciously, Han Fei wanted to see if the demon purification pot had a way to solve this problem, but when he looked at it, he found there was a word demon, purification, next to, refining. Demon purification. Han Fei curiously clicked on it, only to be reminded that it required 50,000 points of spiritual energy to activate it. Gosh, this is robbery. No, wait, is it because of this that I can't recite it? Otherwise, why would the word, demon purification, happen to appear at this time? This is doubtful. Activate. No matter if Han Fei was willing or not, he would have to spend 50,000 points of spiritual energy anyway. Since he still had some spiritual energy left, he might as well activate it now. After 15 minutes, Han Fei was dumbfounded. The so-called demon purification was to fuse different demons and transform them into a new life. Damn, that's terrific. Han Fei took a deep breath. In this way, he would be able to fuse demonic fishes without limit until a rare or even more advanced demonic fish was produced. And it didn't need any stupid contract. Han Fei muttered, "Demon purification pot, is this magical skill your core function?" Chapter 99 First Combat in the Level 1 Fishery. Chapter 99. First Combat in the Level 1 Fishery. Han Fei walked out of the cultivation hall of the fish dragons. Two men, who had been guarding outside the door, immediately greeted him. "Young master, have you finished your cultivation?" Han Fei replied, "Yes. I never felt this energetic before. I think no one can beat me now." The two guards. One of them said, "Young master, during these days, the village leader had sent for you twice, and they said they would come again today. Why, are they afraid I ran away?" One guard answered, "No, the village leader just asked you to go to his home as soon as you finished your cultivation." Han Fei nodded. "Got it, I'm going to. Oh, by the way, how is it going with the hot pot restaurants?" Speaking of the hot pot restaurants, these two people immediately became excited. "Young master, you won't be able to guess how many people visited the restaurants that day, from noon to late at night. All the hot pot restaurants were so full of people who were full of praise for the food that they almost wanted to lick the hot pot clean." Another person hurriedly said, "Young master, the turnover of the opening day reached this number." The man raised his open palm and showed 5 fingers. 500 mid-quality pearls. The man exclaimed, "Young master, you really are a god. It is exactly 500 mid-quality pearls," and our brothers were all beside themselves with joy. Smack. Han Fei slapped the head of the man. "Just tell me how much it is next time. Why did you ask me to guess? I almost thought it was 5,000. This person felt very aggrieved. How could it be 5,000? 5,000 mid-quality pearls. That's too much. ... Han Fei happily walked out of the fish dragons, and seeing the sun outside, he felt refreshed and wondered if he should invite old Zhang and Sister Qin to eat hot pot at a hot pot restaurant tonight. But then he gave up the idea. Neither of them liked crowded places. He might as well make a hot pot for them at home. ... The home of the village leader. "Grandpa Chief, here I am," Han Fei announced. The village leader was looking at a piece of paper, and hearing Han Fei come in, he said, "Have you finally finished your cultivation?" "Yes, now I'm ready for combat." The village leader nodded with approval. "Okay, what a coincidence. In 1 hour, you'll be going together with 3 other fishing masters." "Ah, why so urgent? I didn't plan to wait for you, but you happened to come here. But it's not bad. You can't be a weakling since you could kill Li Ju. This time, 3 fishing masters from our Heavenly Water village were killed in the level 1 fishery, and now we are preparing to support our men." Oh, Han Fei was a little shocked. Were 3 fishing masters killed so easily? The village leader sighed. "They were trapped. Aren't you going to the plantation to say goodbye to old Zhang before you go?" Han Fei thought about it. It seemed unnecessary. He could imagine old Yang's reaction. He would just grunt as a response without even lifting his eyelids. "Forget it. But Grandpa Leader, shouldn't you give my fishing boat back?" The village leader agreed. "Sure, they would have used your fishing boat even without you." Han Fei. In less than an hour, the village leader called the other 3 over, and they immediately set off with Han Fei. After about 15 minutes, the four of them were already in the sky. Han Fei's white fishing boat was very fast, 3 times faster than ordinary ones, but only Han Fei knew that it could be over 10 times faster than the fishing boats of the Heavenly Water Village. A middle-aged man was steering the fishing boat. The other two on the boat were a man and a woman who were both young people under 25 years old. At the moment, except for the middle-aged uncle, the other two were both looking at Han Fei. The girl exclaimed with a smiley face, "Wow, are you Han Fei? A 12-year-old fishing master, you look so cute." Han Fei. Then she directly rubbed Han Fei's head. Han Fei's face immediately turned black. "Young lady, please behave yourself." Titter. "Are you afraid that I'll eat you? It's the first time I've seen a 12-year-old fishing master. You're really cool." The young man was also looking at Han Fei up and down. Seeing Han Fei's helpless expression, he almost burst into laughter, but when he thought of the mission of this trip, he couldn't laugh. Of course, no one took Han Fei as a weakling. How could a weakling kill Li Ju, wipe out the tigers, and kill a fishing master of the tigers under the public eye? The girl rubbed Han Fei's head again and said, "My name is Chen Jar. This brother's name is Zhang Peng, and he is Uncle Sao. He is very strong." The middle-aged man turned his head and smiled. "My name is Sao Fei. Little Han Fei, this is the first time you have come to a level 1 fishery. You must follow us closely. This is a place 10 times more dangerous than the fishing trial." Han Fei assured him, "Uncle, don't worry about me. My strength has improved greatly recently. I'm confident I can defeat my enemies easily." Ho ho. Sao Fei was speechless. "You speak as if our enemies are a bunch of big yellow croakers. Boy, you're still young. You still have time to kick the bad habit of bragging." Zhang Peng shook his head slightly. This kid is too confident. He had no idea how cruel the level 1 fishery was. This 1,000-mile-long journey would have taken them 6 hours, but with Han Fei's fishing boat, it only took them less than 2 hours. When they landed on the level 1 fishery, the other 3 were shocked. The fishing boat gifted by the angel was really great. Sao Fei said solemnly, "Get ready for combat. Zhang Peng, release the spirit-chasing shrimp." Seeing Han Fei's puzzled look, Chen Jar explained it to him with a smile. The spirit-chasing shrimp is Zhang Peng's contractual spiritual beast. It can find the location of any specific person according to his spiritual energy. He can track people. That's amazing. Han Fei was a bit shocked. Wow, fortunately, this shrimp is rare. If everyone had one, would I be chased around if I offended someone? Sao Fei instructed, "Jar, please tell Han Fei about our respective skills and spiritual beasts." Chen Jar turned serious. "Han Fei, listen well. I'm a junior peak level fishing master and my spiritual beast is a crayfish. After fusion, my combat strength barely reaches the intermediate peak." With that, Chen Jar said, pointing to Zhang Peng is also a junior peak level fishing master. His spiritual beast is a lightning crab. It is extremely fast in combat and has strong attack power. It is also the only spiritual beast with a combat skill of its own in the level 1 fishery. It can transform spiritual energy into a claw and then strike as fast as a bolt of lightning to kill the enemy in an instant, but it will consume a lot of spiritual energy. Zhang Peng is stronger than me after fusion, but not by much. Han Fei was surprised. Can a spiritual beast have its own combat skills? Transform spiritual energy into a claw? These people's spiritual beasts are really excellent. In the end, Chen Jar introduced, "This is our captain, Sao Fei, an advanced fishing master, only 1 step away from the peak. His spiritual beast is a swordfish who has great attack power. If you're in danger in combat, you can run to the captain for help. Of course, if the captain is fighting a master of the same level, you'd better not do it." When she finished, all 3 looked at Han Fei. Han Fei blinked. "Well, Han Fei. I'm a junior peak level fishing master. My spiritual beast is spirit-swallowing fish, and my combat power won't be increased after fusion." You're already a junior peak level fishing master." Sao Fei looked back at Han Fei in surprise. Han Fei perked up. "Yes, peak level. If I give my strength to a full swing, my comprehensive combat power can equal that of an intermediate peak level fishing master." Everyone, Intermediate peak level. Zhang Peng was stunned. Han Fei, are you sure? Cao Fei said seriously. Han Fei, it's a matter of life and death. No kidding. I'm not kidding. My strength is very strong. If I punch an intermediate peak level fishing master, he may vomit at least 3 liters of blood. Everyone. They all went speechless. Why 3 liters? Not more or less. But they were also relieved. It was great that he wasn't a burden. Although they were shocked by Han Fei's strength, they still needed to confirm it in actual combat. About half an hour later, Han Fei saw 5 fishing boats chasing each other in the distance. Cao Fei shouted, "Let's get into battle and sprint at full speed." At this very moment, however, Han Fei whispered, "Uncle Cao, can you tell which are the enemy's boats? Just hit their boats with mine. Don't worry, my boat won't be damaged." Chapter 100 Invincible Double Knives. Chapter 100 Invincible Double Knives. Hearing his idea, Cao Fei nodded and immediately steered the ship to ram past. Reinforcements. Then they heard someone on one of the boats shout loudly and his voice was very excited. Cao Fei shouted from a distance, "The bastards of the Heavenly Sun Village, your grandpa Cao is here." Not good, let's retreat. As the 5 fishing boats on the opposite side quickly separated, Han Fei saw that the 2 fishing boats of the Heavenly Water Village were already in disarray. Only 3 people were still holding out and fighting on the bow. Seeing the reinforcements come, they immediately collapsed to the boats. On the 3 fishing boats from the Heavenly Sun Village, however, there were 6 people still fighting. Now they were dumbfounded. Where was this white fishing boat from? How dare it aim to ram our boats? Cao Fei roared, "Kill!" Bam! With a bang, the keel of a fishing boat belonging to the Heavenly Sun Village was directly hit and broken while another was sinking. The people on the 2 ships jumped to the 2 other fishing boats. Everyone was dumbfounded, including the people from the Heavenly Water Village. How could this white fishing boat be so sturdy as to not be damaged at all? The people on the 2 fishing boats of the Heavenly Water Village suddenly shouted, "Kill them!" A young man from the Heavenly Sun Village sneered, "Even if your reinforcements have come, so what? We'll have reinforcements too. Now only 4 of you can still fight. Gee, look what I see, a child. Have you been weaned yet, little kid?" Cao Fei ignored this person and quickly said, "We each will be responsible for 1 person. Zhao Dabai, try to keep 2 enemies at bay. None will be left alive today." Zhao Dabai was the person who asked for reinforcements. His face was pale but he still gritted his teeth and said, "Okay." Han Fei frowned. They didn't seem to be able to hold out any longer. Zhao Dabai and the man and woman seemed to have been seriously injured, and now even their hands were shaking. But Cao Fei, regardless of this, had pounced past. Chen Jar shouted, "Fuse." Zhang Peng followed suit, "Fuse." Cao Fei as well, "Fuse." Their momentum instantly soared as they jumped onto the fishing boats of the Heavenly Sun Village. Bam! 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 The fierce battle unfolded in an instant and someone was injured immediately after the fight started. Zhang Peng purposely let his enemy injure him and then his lightning crab suddenly turned spiritual energy into a large claw and grabbed at the other party. At the same time, Zhang Peng rushed forward though his body was pierced by a swordfish phantom. Han Fei was shocked. So this is combat in the level 1 fishery. Are all the battles here started so fiercely? At the same time, Cao Fei shouted, "Han Fei, fight!" As soon as Han Fei heard it, he moved. As spiritual energy flashed across in his purple bamboo rod, he hit 1 enemy with it. "Ha ha, is there no man in the Heavenly Water Village? I can't believe they sent a brat here. Entangle." Han Fei narrowed his eyes and suddenly saw a big squid whose dozens of tentacles were about to entangle him. And the rod in the man's hand was also flashing with spiritual energy. Obviously, he was going to launch another blow at Han Fei. Bam! To the man's surprise, Han Fei's power was too strong and he had also been fighting for a long time. Although he took spirit refilling pills, his physical strength was almost exhausted. So he was immediately sent flying through the air by the blow from this kid. The young man shouted, "Attention, this kid is not right. Someone come help me." When the people of the Heavenly Water Village heard this, they all looked at Han Fei in amazement. Was this kid stronger than they thought? Especially the three who had almost lost their combat power, their eyes suddenly lit up. Zhao Dabai shouted, "You bastards from the Heavenly Sun Village, let me teach you a lesson. Come, fight me." Although Han Fei repulsed the man with his rod, he withdrew his rod in the next second and two knives that were wrapped with spiritual energy suddenly appeared in his hand. He struck dozens of blows into the void with the knives. Oh, the young man struggled to get up as if he was badly injured. However, Han Fei was already in front of him and the advantages and disadvantages of rods and knives immediately manifested themselves. The long rod in the hands of the young man lost its power in such a short distance while the double knives in Han Fei's hands danced like flying butterflies. Bam, bam, bam. In a blink of an eye, Han Fei had chopped the young man with a dozen blows and broke the spiritual energy protective cover over his body. Suddenly Han Fei felt as if there was a suction cup trying to suck him away. Gurgle, gurgle. Just after a few seconds, the young man looked at the boy in front of him in fright. He found that he had no strength to fight back in this head-on combat. The double knives had left dozens of wounds on his body and now he was dripping with blood. No, the young man howled in despair. "How dare you, Zhao Dabai, get the fuck out of the way." Bam! Zhao Dabai and the other two were shaken away by a strong concussive ripple. Han Fei looked sideways, only to see a sturdy young man angrily jumping at him. Han Fei casually kicked the badly injured fishing master from the Heavenly Sun Village into the sea and chopped at the sturdy young man. "Ding Yong, you killed Ding Yong, you damn thief from the Heavenly Water Village." Everyone was surprised. No one ever expected that the first one who killed an enemy turned out to be a kid, but Zhao Dabai and the others cracked a smile. "This kid is terrific. He is so young but already so powerful." Clang, clang, clang. Han Fei kept hacking and slashing with his knives and the man seemed to be about to launch a spiritual energy explosion attack at him, but Han Fei was not afraid at all as he kept hacking at him. With a loud bang, Han Fei stepped back 5 or 6 steps, and his double knives turned around in his hands and were firmly held by him. 2 long wounds appeared on that man's chest and blood spurted out. Just when Han Fei was going to attack again, a figure flew to his side. He took a look. "Huh, isn't this Chen Jar?" Chen Jar was injured. She spat out a mouthful of blood while asking, "My enemy's spiritual beast is a sturdy armor turtle. Zhao Dabai, can you beat him?" Zhao Dabai smiled bitterly. "I've run out of spiritual energy." "Well, maybe I can help you." Before Han Fei finished, Chen Jar had joined the combat again, because the man fighting her got a chance and turned to attack Zhang Peng. Zhang Peng was injured and certainly wouldn't survive the attacks of 2 fishing masters. Han Fei took a breath, raised his hands, and guided the spiritual energy in his body. Soon, 2 columns of spiritual energy entered into Zhao Dabai's body. Damn, Zhao Dabai and another woman were stupefied. Was this boy a spirit gatherer? Not only was Zhao Dabai stunned, but everyone else froze, so did the people from the Heavenly Sun Village. Such a young spirit gatherer. Why didn't this kind of talent go to the town? Not good, he is a spirit gatherer. Kill this boy. The Heavenly Water Village already had Tang Jie. We can't let them have another genius. However, Zhao Dabai suddenly roared, "Who dares to touch anyone from the Heavenly Water Village? Do you think I'm dead?" Zhao Dabai and the wounded woman joined the battle, and the situation immediately reversed. As for the remaining person, he was too far away from Han Fei, so Han Fei couldn't transmit any spiritual energy to him. Just then, the sturdy man was rushing at him like crazy. The spiritual beast of this young man was a crab whose defense and attack powers were not weak. He had fused with his spiritual beast and now his combat power almost equaled that of an intermediate peak level fishing master. He seemed to be enraged and his momentum was getting stronger and stronger. Zhao Dabai frowned and said to Han Fei, "Watch out for the demonic fish power of his ball fish, kid." Han Fei also frowned. Can fishing masters get power from demonic fishes repeatedly? Did this guy also have a contractual spiritual beast? Explode. The young man roared and hundreds of needles suddenly shot out in all directions. Han Fei, who was right in front of him, would certainly be subject to the greatest damage. The sturdy young man sneered. "These are the poison stings of ball fish. Surprised. Enjoy. Brat from the Heavenly Water Village, you're doomed." Cao Fei roared and tried to rush over, but was smashed back by his opponent with his rod. The other people from the Heavenly Water Village were all worried. They knew how dangerous a ball fish could be. This boy was a 12-year-old spirit gatherer, as well as the hope of the Heavenly Water Village. Would he die the first time he went out for a mission? But the next second, everyone was stunned, and the sturdy young man also widened his eyes. Clinks and clangs were heard continuously from Han Fei's body as the countless ball fish stings transformed away from spiritual energy, failing to leave any marks on Han Fei's body. Han Fei scratched his head. Have you finished your attack? Now it's my turn.